Kia tau mai te maramatanga, kia tau mai te rangimaria, kia tau mai te kaha me te whai whakaro mo tēnei kaupapa, uie tāgie. Let's be grounded in clarity, let's be peaceful, let's be strong and considerate for this purpose, bind together, and so it is. So, yes, welcome board members, councillors, Deputy Chair Grant Knowles from Golden Bay, Councillor Ellis. We've also got to my left, Rob Smith standing in for John Ridd. Leonie Ray's joining us, CEO. We've got Robin Byrne, who is the new GM of Governance Manager. And we've got our lovely Kelsey McLean at the end, keeping us on track. We will have Margot Wilson, staff member online. We have got David Armstrong calling in and Catherine Hubbard, who is from media. So everybody here, most people are familiar with our board meetings. We know that they are recorded and you can find them on YouTube later. I think that's all. Everyone knows if there's an emergency, fend for yourself out that way. So we've got no apologies today. We will kick into public forum in a minute. I would just like to pass the minutes. If I can have I can move them. Can I have a seconder, please? Confirmation of June's minutes. Board Member Hughes.
Thank you.
All those in favour, please say aye. Anyone again? Okay, that's carried. Are there any declarations of interest?
Yes, there is from myself
Yep.
for the discretionary funds Motueka Events Charitable Trust application for the Christmas parade.
Okay, and you will be speaking to that, but not voting to that. That's fine. Kelsey's got that down. And yes, Councillor Walker.
The Tasman's representative on the Tasman Bay Promotional Trust, ISOC.
Oh, okay. Yep.
That's to do with their lease.
Yep. Cool. We all good? Okay. Declarations. Any late items? Nope. Okay, so we will move into public forum. I have Mr. Williamson first up on my list.
We've all experienced a large quantity of rain over the recent weeks, and no doubt many of us have experienced surface flooding on our roadways and private properties. To remove this is a real priority, and I have a suggestion for consideration. If, as I understand, our Tasman Council is strapped for cash, why can't our community board offer to contribute sufficient finance to cover the cost for an easy sweep truck unit and men to clear the main gutter sumps that cause the major blockage problems? Example from Leaves, as in the Parker Street with the Twin Oaks. I was approached recently by a nearby neighbour who was anxious to know why our Tasman District Council hadn't already started to lower the shingle in the Motueka River, especially near the road bridge on Highway 60. As she mentioned, cost-wise, this would be cheaper than renewing the stop banks to provide material to sell to contractors. This question was presented to me before the interesting article in the 8th of August 2025 Newsline titled "Helping Unravel the Issue of Gravel" on the front page. That's yeah. I'll bring it to her attention, but I thought it was an interesting question. And number 3, I was interested in reading in the June 2025 agenda under section 5, items from board members, and number 5, number 1, residential road resurfacing and maintenance query if TDC have budgeted for possible 5-year resurfacing. and damage due to heavy goods vehicles, 50 tonne plus, using residential streets since the clock tower roundabout was established. I'm currently researching the western end of Parker Street, looking across to Queen Victoria Street, where there could be a straight road positioned, if approved, to help the large truck and trailer units using the packing shed by the airport. Absolutely phenomenal, the number of trucks that come up and down Parker Street. It's a very narrow residential street, and it hasn't got the surface to cope with the 50 tonne plus trailer, truck and trailer units. And number 4, is there any update on the substantial lowering of the Twin Oaks trees on Parker Street? This question was asked by a neighbour to me. I know they're protected trees. And number 5, also the resurfacing of Parker Street with use of heavy truck and trailer units, especially when the Motueka Stop Banks is recommencing work. And this was also asked by a neighbour. Thank you, Lady Chief.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Williamson, I'll just check the point number 4 about the Parker Street trees. When did that neighbour, the resident, ask? Yeah, about the trimming, because it was scheduled for July, but obviously with everything going on, I'm assuming it didn't, but. Oh, okay, so it hasn't happened. Yep,
No.
that's all good. We can follow up with that. Thank you. Are there any, yes, board member Hughes?
So has the trimming of the tree been approved?
It was scheduled in. It was scheduled in for July by staff.
But I'd like to speak to that.
Do you want to speak in the board?
When would it be appropriate to speak about that?
In the board section?
Okay,
Yep.
I will then.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. Are there any other questions, clarification?
All the branches are starting up to power lines.
Yes.
So are we worried?
Yeah, we'll follow up with that. Thank you. And of course, we'll discuss it in the board report section.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next we've got Mr. Lloyd Reid. Now, yes, Mr. Hughes.
There may be a bit of an update on that. Things are starting to go right.
Okay. But
Yeah.
not coming today. Okay, that's all good. Mrs. Christine Schaffner. Hey.
Our topic for today is floods and shifts. Lucky me, I chose a heading that is flexible enough so to remain hopefully relevant for a later meeting. It's the second last meeting from members of this current group. And unfortunately, last meeting was cancelled due to the floods. However, the Environment and Regulatory Committee did meet 2 days after the cancelled meeting and resolved an updated enforcement policy and new delegations to Mr. Drummond. A lawyer did comment on the changes of the policy and noted with concern that it may well allow future cases to be dealt with in the same way as we were dealt with. By the way, if I counted right, this comes to 29 official changes to the delegations register since mid-2021. Quite impressive, I have to say. As far as I understand, in amongst those 29 changes, none of them did relate to the delegations to this this community board. I am unsure what is asked of you or required when leaving your office, but I know that councils are required to consider their delegations to community boards. I remember that you resolved quite a while back to recommend to council a small change to the TMP. I also remember that this recommendation never made it to the council table. I do not remember an official explanation as part of an agenda as to why, which I find unfortunate to say the least. I think your communities have a right to know. I also remember that you had asked certain TDC staff members to join your meetings to answer questions, but again, this did not happen due to the staff having other commitments. In my world, this is not good enough. It seems to me that the roles are not clear. If I understand it right, also quite I'm quite astonished to see the CEO here today. I think I've never seen you in the community board meeting so far. So I'm delighted. The lady who used to live on my property and spoke at your public forum 2 months ago is still waiting to hear back from the mayor. Well, I guess it's busy times right now. We all have to set our priorities. From what I witness, there are still many people out there in the community, including myself, who still don't know what fixed to land means. In other words, is there any way that a vehicle used as a form of accommodation is considered not fixed to land in this district right now? Is there any such thing, or is it just a pure? Sorry about that. I would like to know that, and I think many others would like to know that too. Judging from the last floods, I dare say that with some early warning taken seriously, people in mobile homes would actually have a massive advantage to conventional homeowners. They can be towed away or drive off before a flood. Maybe something to think about. After much toing and froing, the enforcement staff visited on 1st of August to check whether or not someone is living in the mobile home on our property. Given the dire financial situation and the written confirmation from us that there isn't, that's not prudent spending in my view. However, compared to the state of emergency 3 years ago, at least we weren't searched and detained this time, so I'm grateful. But before you leave your office, please consider this. People in this district were searched and TDC staff instructed police to detain people, to be able to search without anyone watching. In court, it was decided that raising matters such as the validity of warrants, including a search warrant, are academical matters. In a recent criminal case in the Nelson District Court, a local businessman who was sentenced to 2.5 years in prison for possessing child exploitation material in quite a serious number, reminded the court of the emotional harm to his personal children as a result from the search of his property, which was acknowledged by the judge. Whilst I find it personally surprising that this man dared to put the focus on his children, given his offending, and whilst exploiting others for years, it does show that a search warrant is a serious, impactful means which belongs in the criminal arena and should be employed very wisely so. Before you leave, is there anything you want to say as board members? How impactful was your work and how were you assisted by staff and the delegations given to you? Did the tiny home community benefit from your work? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now, are you taking your notes?
No, I think that's more of a draft than final.
Okay, it's only just because there was a bit of distraction, so I've missed a portion of that, but when we get into board discussion.
But I'm happy to sort of get the grammar stuff sorted and send it over to you.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yep. Are there any questions from the board? Thank you. Mr. David Ogilvie, welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. Nice to see our chief executive attend, so welcome, Leonie. Thank you. What I've got today is basically based on this report, which came to the community board in June. This is the one on the, I call the Motueka estuary, with the margin of the Ridgely Inlet. And it's a very good report. It's written by Paul MacArthur, put into the minutes, presented to the community board by George Daly in June. Listen, I've got some questions about it. First of all, really, what has happened since that report was written? The report was written in March, and there were supposed to be 4 or 5 actions from that recommended in that report. First is, what negotiations have there been with New Zealand Motor Caravan Association regarding the extension of their lease, what are the terms and conditions of that lease, and has there been more land made available to the NZMCA, and what are their particular requirements? The second item was about a proposed grazing lease. And again, has that been finalised? What are the terms and conditions of that lease? Thirdly, there was a finalising of a lease with the Community Gardens group. What are their terms and conditions? There's a restoration plan for the Salt Marsh area, perhaps including some work on the culvert. And again, what work is being programmed for that? For example, that may be handed across to the Keep Motueka Beautiful group to look at that. And finally, the fifth item was with the neighbouring property owner, Genia, regarding the reinstatement requirements being sought. So I'm really asking, can the community board at its meeting in October or November receive a publicly available report on those items that I've mentioned? And in that, when will they happen, if they haven't already happened? What's the budget? And there may be general council item budget, although there may be a specific budget for these items I just mentioned. And which fund is covering those? Is that coming from the long-term, it's not mentioned in the long-term plan or the annual plan? It may be part of Jobs for Nature, it may be part of Better Off funding. Although the leases themselves may be self-funding the work which is programmed. So that's really the basis of what I've got to say this afternoon. But it also relates to the Waimea Inlet project, because going back probably now 4 or 5 years, when the Waimea Inlet project was regarded for, I think, Better Off funding, we were more or less promised, when I say we, Motueka was more or less promised, that the next project would be to look at the Mutri Inlet and do much the same sort of work with the Mutri Inlet as has happened with the Waimea. Because the Mutri Inlet is not just the margin I've just been talking about, it's the whole area south from the tidal gate and Wharf Road in Tallies, incorporates Maria, parts of northern part of Kina, and of course the whole of the inlet around Jackets Island. So it's quite a big operation, but it'd be quite nice to know from a Motueka Community Board's point of view, whether the Waimea Inlet job, now completed, is being more or less repeated for the Mutri Inlet. So that's 2 parts of my submission, or if you like, report today. So thank you, Madam Chair. Now, look, I've got all that written down, so I'll pass that around. Of course.
Thank you for your presentation through you, Madam Chair. So when you said that the Mutri Inlet was promised, when was that? And
Oh,
what forum was that delivered
Look,
on?
I can't give you a precise date. It was more or less discussed when we initiated the Better Off funding. It would have been 2020, perhaps, 2021, certainly in the previous term of council anyway.
In a council meeting,
The council, yes. Basically, when we were discussing the item, when the council was discussing the items for the federal funding.
I would like also to know what the leases, etc., are for this, because as you know, I wasn't happy with this whole business, especially with the use of the consultants. And the consultants merely came back with exactly what was proposed by the council in the beginning. So yeah, I felt there could have been other options involved, but that's all right.
Can discuss it later in the board
Yep.
section, but
Yes, I can't be here after about
oh,
4 or 5 o'clock, actually, I've got another appointment.
oh no, that's okay. I will be in touch with you anyway with an update.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So that concludes our public forum. We do have a couple of discretionary fund applications. So we'll do that and then we'll move on to the next part. So I've got Big Brothers, Big Sisters. We've got Tracy. Hi. Yeah, come on up.
It's made it with 2 fair accidents, one Marlborough and one down on, yeah.
On the state highway.
Yeah, cars upside down and yeah.
This is the second one. There was one earlier.
Yeah, and there's one that's just happened, just along Beetwood through Strong Loop.
Oh.
But
Good.
anyway.
You're here safe, so there is good.
Thanks.
Feel free to pour water.
No, I'm all good. Thank you. Kia ora and thanks for the opportunity. I'm Tracy, the Program Director from Big Brothers, Big Sisters. We're in our 27th year of operation. We currently have 8 matches in the Motueka area from Rewaka through to Lower Muteri. We reopened our waiting list earlier in May and we've got 2 young people waiting for mentors in the region. We've had inquiries from another 4 around the region that would all be eligible. And children come onto our program for a variety of reasons. They might have an absent parent, they might have experienced trauma, they may struggle making friends. They may have both caregivers at home, but there might be an illness in the family or a high needs sibling. So our biggest challenge at the moment is attracting mentors. So we're working really hard, and rather interestingly, after this meeting, I'm going to meet someone in Waltham Road, a woman who's keen to mentor. So we are applying for the fund. Now that we've opened up our waiting list, we're working really hard through a variety of mechanisms to attract mentors. Mentors are as young as 20, and we've got mentors in their 80s, come from all walks of life, all different experiences. Yeah, and it's a program that works. We get our annual program outcome evaluations. We get lots of anecdotal feedback. Yeah, so we are currently looking for a billboard location in this area because there's not any specific council ones. Seek is working really well for us, which is no cost. But this funds we would be supporting would be a real drive to look for more mentors in the region.
Thank you so much. I don't think there is questions. Is there a question, or are you going to do what Claire and I are going to do?
Look, I would love to support this. I just would like to know from the more experienced people, does this fall within our criteria to help them? It does.
Yeah.
I'd like to put that forward. Yes.
So, well, who's
Okay.
going to move it before the chair and the deputy? Yes. Who will second that?
Yeah.
It's a Jill second.
Second.
It's a wonderful.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Want to wait?
It's
Both together?
No, we can move that one because deputy can't vote on the next one. All in favour? Aye. Anyone again? No. Thank you so much. Have a pleasant evening.
I'm safe.
Okay, so I'm going to invite the deputy up as Claire Hart. And this is about Motueka Events Charitable Trust.
So we apply to you lovely people every year for contribution towards the annual Christmas parade, which is it's a very well anticipated event and much enjoyed. So each year we focus more on and collaborating more and more different cultures. And I've been working with Tito from Birdhurst, and so we've been getting Vanuatuans, Fijians, and Tongans, and Samoans, and they're all joining forces together to rehearse for their street performance. They wouldn't normally do that. So they're really enjoying it. And we also have the Filipino community, plus the other businesses and community groups. The town loves it, and really we want to keep it going. We have struggled for the last few years with traffic management. We have secured through Nelson Traffic Management Company half price deal from what Downers were doing. So we've managed to secure that last year, this year, and also for next year, a price promise. So basically so that we can keep the event going. So we really do, we're scraping the barrel and we need every dollar that we can get. So really would appreciate if you would grant us some funds.
Yes, councillor. Moved by councillor Dowler. Have I got a seconder? Councillor Walker. If I know you would like to say something, but you choose.
Bloody conflict of interest, I tell you.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
And again, that's carried. Thank you very
Much.
Well done, Claire. Keep up the good work.
Okay, so, right, we have. Now we're into report, so page 25. So this is about the community lease renewals and. The accountability forms. Sorry? Oh, let's turn the page. Oh, this is from the previous ones. Okay, sorry. Okay, so moved by Deputy Chair and seconded by Councillor Maru. All those in favour of moving the accountability invoices, I say aye.
Aye.
Anyone again? Aye, carried. Thank you. Thanks, Kelsey. So we're moving on to, we've got Margot Wilson online, who is going to talk us through the next section.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes. we
Excellent.
can.
Hopefully it's a short report, just 3 pages. It's an informational report. These 4 community groups have been in existence for a very long time, and none of them are on recreational reserves, so the requirements are much less. I'm not required to have all of you make a recommendation to council and then have to go to council and get a vote on that. This is open to all of you to comment and give me any information that you think I might need. But the delegation is to Nick Chin, the property services manager, to sign off. But we certainly are open to any, as I say, any information that any of you can give.
I've got a question here from Deputy Chair, so we'll jump into
Please,
that if it's
please,
okay.
of course, go ahead.
Thank you, Margaret. I just had a question when I was reading it with the tennis club.
Mhm.
And there was an issue around the lease.
Yes,
A question mark about it. So could you elaborate on that? And
yes, the lease is a 1950, I might even have the date in there, 1952, something like that, written lease. Or was it? I think it was. Anyway, very, very old, and entirely in the favor of the club. If you ever want to read it, you're welcome to read it. But they turned in that lease in 1980, whenever it was that they said that they needed funds to resurface the courts. And they said they were happy to vary it and actually just turn it in and negotiate with the council to write a new lease. That was all. Well, actually, what they did, I believe, was they said, okay, well, we'll just leave the tenants, the basic tenants of the lease, and they listed certain clauses that they said, okay, these clauses are no longer going to be included, and that was agreed between council and the club. And the club had written us a letter that is in the report here, written saying, and they sent us a check saying, you know, with this check, our part of our agreed payment for the resurfacing of the tennis courts and your heads of agreement, we agreed to that. Please just change two things. One thing was that they wanted a longer maintenance period to be the responsibility of council, and one other minor thing. And then before council came back and said, yes, that's fine, but it looks as though they were going to, it dawned on the teams here that there were some negotiations that needed to be handled with Wakatu Incorporated. So that sort of put everything on hold, and then it just sort of sat there on hold until I arrived, basically. And I looked at this and said, we don't have a current lease really, because the old lease has been agreed to be varied, and yet that varying never happened. So there's a new president, Lincoln, his name is in there. I'm not remembering his last name. And I've given him all of this information, and he's very happy to he's looked at that heads of agreement that was written years ago, and the new template, and we're now negotiating and it will pretty much be a common current template lease.
Great.
Does that,
Thanks, Margot.
yeah, hopefully,
Thank you very much.
of course.
Got
Any other questions?
Councillor Walker?
Thank you, through your chair. You're going to do these as separate items because
Yeah, I
it's one
can.
that I can't, obviously.
Yeah, yep, we can do that. So we will just speak point 3 unable. Yeah, the rest is okay.
She's got a conflict of interest with it.
Yeah. So the Tasman-based promotions association, yeah.
Here's my other question through you, Chair, is how many other leases have we got that are sitting on hold in this too hard basket, or suddenly we're going to find them, but
Yeah, how has that review gone, Margot, with
Which review?
just when you've obviously uncovered
Oh.
some leases requiring
Uh,
being put in
well,
place or review?
There's not too many left now. Just the other day, we had a meeting out in Collingwood with a very long-term difficult situation, and that looks like that's getting signed.
into Motueka.
Oh, in Motueka specifically, the only other one really that I can think of is the over 50 social hub. And they are on a lease that it entirely favors them. And we've looked at it, you know, bless them. And at this moment, we're just living with it. So really, that's I think the only one that's left. That
Well done, you.
Keep living with it,
Uh,
Margot.
has only taken me 8 years. Yeah.
I appreciate what you've put in. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So, through the chair, can I ask, so the tennis club, the land is Wakatu land.
Hmm.
So that's the same Wakatu land that the old library is on?
I believe, I'd have to look at the map to be certain. I believe it's the part that we own jointly with them. And so we always have to confer with them. And what has happened, I believe, in that situation with the tennis club is that a new lease agreement in that co-joint ownership management situation has been rewritten and negotiated since then. And it just, nobody just ever got back to the tennis club then after that. So I will be discussing with, I believe is his name Schaefer? There's a gentleman at Wakatu that I confer with, and I will be doing that. And mostly on these situations where they're long-term organizations and there's nothing substantially different going to happen. He mostly just wants a heads up. He doesn't make a big to do about it. He just wants me to write him a letter, say what's going on, and that's pretty much it. That's what I'll be doing. Any other questions?
No, I think everybody's clear. So we'll just go through so that we can do it separately. So in point A, which will obviously Councillor Walker is abstaining from, the Tasman Bay Promotions Association. So Deputy Hutt has moved that one. Delegated to approve the leasing of council property. Have I got a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Dowler. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone again? Okay, that one's moved. We welcome Councillor Walker back into the mix for point B, Motueka District Museum Trust. Moved by Councillor Dowler. Have I got a seconder? Okay. It was like a 3, so we'll go deputy, not deputy, sorry, we'll go board member Hughes. I've seen the hand. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone again? Okay, and then letter C, Royal New Zealand Plunket Trust. Mover?
Right.
Okay, Councillor Maru and seconded by Councillor Walker. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone again? So all 3 are carried, and we've got D, the Motueka Tennis Club, moved by Deputy Chair Hutt, seconded by Board Member Hughes. All those in favour, please say aye. Anyone again? Carried. Was there anything else for that, Kelsey?
No, I've taken 1, 2 and A. It's 1.
Nice. Actually, we could have just done that, but I felt like everyone wanted to be in the mix, so it's quite nice. We've got multiple movers and seconders. Okay, so thank you, Margot. Appreciate
Thank
your
you.
work. Keep
Thank
looking
you very
after
much.
Motueka.
I'll try. I'll do my best. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Okay, 8.3, page 28, special projects. Now, we're going to be standing in Mr. here while Deputy Chair will move through the special projects. So we've got a couple of parts to this. So we have got the actions update. Hold up, wait a minute. Oh, and then when we get down, so we'll do the actions list first. Have we got, oh, great, we've got Paul online. Because we'll move into the financials before we go to the new special projects. Okay, so no time, you go. Number 1, Dex Reserve. We have just got, there was a couple of minor things that needed to be done and we haven't got an update. It says it'll be coming in September. So I assume this is to do with, there was going to be like a bike, yeah, like more of a wooden bike stand. I don't know, do you have any intel? No. So we'll find out in September. Then Ted Reed Reserve. This is a main still undertaking testing. Do we know where anything's at? We heard.
It was an old dump site apparently, so we couldn't put the new playground equipment there.
They're testing. Has this been updated? I've got a May update. So where it sort of fell last time was it was going to be, they found a spot, but it's not near what currently is there. which is where we ideally would want it. So it's going to be a little bit further away. And they were going to check with the neighbours if they were okay to have the nest swing like sort of over there, because obviously it's going to attract lots of people because it's for big people and little people to play on that. So, and also visually. So we just need an update on that from the Memorial Park.
Well, that's all done.
Done. Okay, so we can close number 12 off. Thanks, Kelsey. Is it? I've got really old updates. Have you got?
In the new report right at the end, it's got the update.
Oh, this is new.
I got the one from the agenda, which
Yeah.
I think the current one.
So on the, right at the end of the agenda, it's got with the actions.
Have you guys got? Oh, those are our board actions.
Yeah, this is the special projects
Have
action.
you guys got what your special actions that you guys have got? Special project actions? Is it still saying like, yeah?
Yep.
Okay,
Made from Motueka Key.
okay, that's all right. So those are our board actions. These ones are our special project ones. So unless you've got an update on those ones, there might be, because there is some crossover in some of them. So saltwater baths, the planting, we don't know. And Motueka Key contribution to stroke. So that is actually in this report.
Yes, so it, I can.
This
I'll
is
go
the
with that.
Heritage Wharf Restoration Project. Yeah.
Yes, so at this stage, so we're putting a business case to, we as in the historical wharf, putting a business case into TDC for a couple of options, one of which is if the wharf is shortened by 5 metres, which will save maybe about 70,000, so
70.
70.
Okay.
So we've got a Zoom meeting set up for this Friday with the archaeologists and engineers, just to, along with TDC, to weigh up the options and to then put a business case forward to the council. So it's definitely ongoing, but it's progressing.
Okay. Can I just ask a question on that? Just because I wasn't actually quite sure. So was the initial project to extend what currently there?
No, so the initial project was to keep it as it is.
Okay, so now potentially will go shorter.
And to save money, we're just, we're not sure about the funding. So ideally, we would like to keep it the length it is.
Yeah.
But if we can't raise enough funds, do we shorten it 5 metres? Will the Heritage New Zealand approve that? That's the sort of
Is
situation.
it
we're in.
currently at the original length?
Yep.
Okay. Yes, councillor Walker.
Through you, Chair. So will this community board get given what the scope options actually look like, and like that you've already put forward some money to it?
Absolutely. Yeah. We need to keep the community board
Yeah.
up to date. Yeah, but it's
Because we requested what the scope looked like right in the early days, and we've still been waiting. It's great to hear that you've got back together to look at what other alternative options may be. Not that we saw the first one, we just saw a dollar figure.
yeah.
I'm really keen to look at what the scope will be brought back to potentially as an option.
Yeah.
And if I may, Chair, with the Dex Reserve one, just because this term's coming to an end, I know that we're waiting for an update from Tony. Can we also put an action point in there to ask about, he was going to go and inquire about that concrete that hasn't held, it's got cracks in it.
Yeah.
I'd quite like this term to know, is there any assurance for us to know that whoever's put that in, the contractor, that there's some comeback as to how that's going to withhold over the next period of time? Because this was done in this term projects.
Yeah.
So the bike rack, but for me, it's more important about the quality of the work and that it's going to hold up to what we're asking it to do. Thank you.
Yeah.
No, sorry, just Through the Chair, just also an update on the historical wharf. I believe there's been a bit of a reshuffle with TDC staff, and David Arsenault has moved up, and so we're looking for a new David Arsenault who's going to be looking for it.
Still the same Dave.
It's still the same
Yes.
David, right?
So David Arsenault and Stephen Richards are still the key contacts.
Thank you.
Okay. No? Okay. Yeah.
Just got an email from Isabel, so I'm just asking to share it, but it might be better that. Oh, because I asked about that this morning.
She sent me that, so I'm happy for you to share it. Yeah.
I was just gonna ask if they.
Well, names don't make me the baddie the whole time.
So with.
Yeah. Yes, councillor Dowler.
Just a point of clarification, I'm getting old and forgetful, but I thought when the annual plan was discussed, we were only talking 250K for the old wharf restoration. It's grown leagues to 350K. Is that correct or am I wrong?
It's all up in the air at the moment.
So it was 250 when it passed.
This is why we're trying.
No, it didn't pass for
It's
that
just
very
still a
reason.
discussion.
Because we weren't sure.
Sorry, Rob's got an update.
So during the annual plan, the staff asked for the ability to loan fund up to 200,000 to support the project. And that was declined through the annual plan process. And that's why it came back to the requirement for a business case. So now there's, they've gone away and got quantity surveyors to do either the full replacement or the almost full replacement. Both come with different options. The full replacement doesn't need a resource consent, but it needs a whole lot of extra blocks. The shorter one needs a resource consent and a renewal of the authority. So that either which way you go, there's still a process, but the group is coming up with a business case that would then come back. And it's still expensive.
Yes.
No one's tried to dig any of the existing blocks out of the mud that's fallen off over the years and see if they can be dried out and reused.
Sorry,
Yeah,
through the
you
Chair. Yes, that's absolutely an option. So stonemason and council staff and stone cutters have been down there, and the majority of them can be reused. So if it was shortened 3 meters, there could potentially be enough stone with what's there now, plus salvaging what's on this side. And if we do the full extent, keep it as it is now, we would have to sort some more rocks, which we can do. But of course, there's obviously a cost and that sort of thing. So yeah, that's where the business case comes up, weighing up the two options. But absolutely, to reuse the ones that are on the beach, definitely.
Thank you, through Chair. Just one last question for me on this one topic is, does the business case include ongoing maintenance to maintain this mole/wharf when it's been done? And whose budget does that come out of? Because it's going to need upkeeping. And is that part of your business case?
That's right. You might, well, David Arsenault might be better at that because it's a TDC asset. They own the wharf. So potentially it would be under the maintenance budget.
So I just want to make sure that when the business case comes through, that's included, because as we are well aware in the annual plan, a lot of our mowing and maintaining of gardens and roadside verges has been slashed in our community.
Mhm.
So where does the money come from if we restore this particular area going forward? Because I don't want it to then come back and bite me or the next board, whoever that might be, because it wasn't planned for.
Let's get it fixed first.
Well, that's if you want it.
No budget at the moment, but it's coming back to council.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, there was budget to put that silly fence up. And
Oh.
I see it all kicked off, so somewhere in the maintenance budget, maybe there is a little bit of budget.
Was that councillor? That
Yeah,
fence?
Yeah.
Oh, so now it comes out. Yes, because we weren't aware of that. Good to know.
We rather mow it than see another silly fence.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, any further questions?
Well, I haven't really got a question, but I just got a, it's sad that there's so much money needed to do, I mean, this is an asset, it's a one, we need to look after our old stuff, you know? And as Barry,
Putting them out to
Yeah.
blood.
as Barry said, you know, there are rocks and that there, and wow, $350,000 to shorten it, you know, I think, man, couldn't we get the community behind us? I'm sure there's some blokes when they're coming past with trucks and that, it'd be amazing to have a little wooden wharf at the end of it. I'm jumping ahead, let's just get this,
I love how you caught
let's just
yourself
get
there.
it fixed.
It's great.
Shut up.
And well connected, so I'm sure you've got local.
Yes.
Oh,
I'll talk
all
to you offline.
offline service options. Okay,
Somewhere for Barry to sit.
yes. Rhonda.
There was a
Barry's
guy
chair.
A few years ago with the crane on to salvage all the old blocks out free of charge and place back on the site for them to dry.
Yeah.
And it belongs to Able Tasman Sea Shuttles, so maybe they might be interested in still doing it as a favour, or maybe we chase them away.
There's, sorry, I feel like I'm harping on about this, but it is a fashion one. So the original, as the wharf came out, where it is now, it went on a lot longer, and there was a wooden platform there where people came in with their boats, and there was markets there where people would bring their wares and everything. So it was huge compared to what it is now. So it would be amazing to see some of it restored, so that you know, grandchildren can appreciate it and enjoy it. Yeah, and who knows, when we get a few, another 500,000, maybe we can put the deck on there after the pool. That's right. So.
Lovely. I love the passion. Sorry. Okay, so I'll move that we receive the special projects update. Can I have a seconder, please? Seconded by Board Member Hughes. All those in favour, please say aye. Anyone again? Carried. Okay, so I'm conscious we have got Paul on there. I'm also conscious I did not allow any time at the start for Leonie to speak. Would you like to speak now, or would you like to speak before we do when we get into our board report, which is? Well,
Yeah, I'll do it just before your board.
okay, thank you. All right, moving on to page 34, 8.4 financial summary. Paul, how are you? We can't see you. Oh, there we go.
Here I am. Oh, kia koto. I'm well.
Great. Hi, Paul.
Right. Hi, everyone. So the financial report, it is for the 12 months ended 30 June 2025, so at the end of our financial year. So the highlights from that is that we do have a deficit for the year of $53,000 or just over. That is largely due to the extra expenditure on special projects. However, most other items are at or below budget. The special projects extra expenditure is actually funded from reserve funds built up from prior years where money was collected and not spent. So though it does have a headline deficit there, it's actually funded from prior year money that wasn't spent. So those are the highlights from the financial report, unless anyone's got any questions.
Yes, Deputy Chair does.
Hi, Paul. Thank you. So when you talk about the deficit, just to clarify, on page 35, where on the special projects item C, remaining balance 88,597. So that's current as of today.
No.
Is it-
This is June.
Is it the end of June?
So we're
Right.
missing, we're missing 2 because they're wrapping up July.
Right.
So for your information, the budget for 2025-26, before any consideration of carry forwards, so and I know there's a $10,000 carry forward, I think, in the next paper, that is rounded up $83,000 special projects allowance there. So that's the funding allocated to special projects for next year.
Right. Wonderful.
Okay, that's good to know. That was my question.
So, sorry, just to get my head around it. So there's 83,000
Yes.
for 25-26 financial year, and then 26-27 there could be a potential 40 or 50,000, whatever is agreed then.
Yes, yes. So it depends how much, of those funds in the new financial year that are spent, whether there's any remaining funds to carry over into the year after. So 24-25 is just finished. We're into 25-26, which has the $83,000 budget.
So
it's not the carryover.
So if we spent 83,000 between now and June next year, we would then be zero balance, and then we would get another 40 or 50,000, whatever.
You would retain your you'd basically stay at your closing balance that you've got there now, which was 88,000, I think it was. I'll just bring it back up again.
Right.
Yeah. So yes, you have a budget to spend and an allotment of funds for the new financial year of 88,000 plus. There will be existing the opening balance to carry forward, which is still available, which you may need to close out any projects which are still ongoing.
Yes. So for the projects that we want to do now, we have 83,000.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. So I'll just double clarify. That's not including any reserves. Well, that is including what we class as reserves.
That's included.
That's not including the reserves. That's just your normal allotment. Yeah.
Yes, I don't know how we're overspending. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Cheers.
Does that make sense? I am confused with.
So Paul,
Well, we didn't
the 88,597, that'll be the 83,000, the opening balance next year, that will be a component of underspent from this year or carryovers, won't it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so it is reserves.
Yeah.
And then there's a pool of current reserves still sitting there.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Which is made up of market and the other.
That's good, because that just leads into our next report.
Yeah.
To make sure that we've covered.
That's great.
We got there.
You did. Yeah.
Thank you.
Let's continue spending.
That's what we want.
We will.
Moving on to the next report.
Anything for community. Okay, so were there any other questions, board, for financials? I mean, obviously this is June, so and there was no discretionary in July, but our June ones are in there. And I can't.
I think one of the other questions I have is, sorry, Paul.
You go.
Through the chair, is the training budget, which has only been half spent, does that carry over, please, to the next financial year?
Oh, this is the one that we moved.
not normally for operating expenditure, but if you make a good case for it, then potentially, if we can see that there's going to be a need for it, then we can discuss it. So that's probably a conversation to have offline. So
Yeah, that'd be great. We can do that for incoming. Okay, I'll make a note. Kelsey, do you mind putting an action point about the chair and deputy catching up with Paul regarding
Training.
budgeting for next? Yeah, the thing is, it wasn't in the AP that passed for any. Okay, we go. No, you're right. Is there any other? We're all right. Any other questions? No, I'm good. We will keep you just online, Paul. I'll just move this report. Mover, seconder. Moved by deputy, seconded by board member Hughes. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Anyone again? Okay, financial summary carried. On to page 36, 8.5 special projects. So I'll also open the floor for board discussion. There was just 1 point in relation to 2.2. So it's stating there 171. It'll actually end up being 161 after 2.3, which is that 10,000 is taken out. So it's 161. And then we have, so note number 3 in our recommendations is that carryover from the last meeting of $10,000 for Motueka Key Historical Wharf Restoration Project. If the board wants further discussion on that. And then point 4 is the consolidated special projects from the recent round that went out to community, and these are basically the top ones.
These are the ones that we can currently do.
Oh, right. So this has gone through staff to see if it's.
So do you want,
The other thing I was just going to note, so you see Kelsey has kindly added on there and highlighted. So this was out of our annual plan submission where we board members, board member Hughes, deputy chair, and I met with Paul and we worked through the budgeting. That's why we're just trying to really clarify that special projects budget. And our proposal was to commit some funds from what we call the reserves to these 4 areas as a placeholder, because one of them may not actually come to fruition, which is that last one, the Rewaka Cemetery Grounds toilet facility. That's something that came in the very start of our term and it's gone round and round circles to nowhere. But the others potentially, this is to help them with doing the things that they do in Motueka. So noted, we've just passed a 700 discretionary fund for Christmas parade. One of the things the board had suggested is actually putting an annual amount towards making sure that was sufficient, that parade would continue. Keep Motueka beautiful. Now, I think that discussion was more around they needed funds to, and they haven't come to us for this, this was just discussions, funds for hanging baskets and stuff, but it's more give it to them to do whatever projects they need to in Motueka. And the Great Taste Trail, as you all know, needs maintenance, and there are some improvements that the group would like to do. So those were the ones that the board submitted, minus councillors, because you had to vote on the annual plan.
so through the chair, so this was like for quite a number of years, the community board put funds towards the litter card. That was an annual thing. So this is along those lines where it's an annual contribution.
Sorry, councillor Jella.
Just a question about the tap drinking fountain at the tennis courts adjacent to the kids' playground area.
Expensive.
I know that but I see that the source is from the Laura Ingram kindergarten site, which is programmed to be flattened any time, probably. But my concern is even if it comes from there, I think it's a well. So I don't know whether it's going to comply with potable water, which is a requirement now of drinking fountains.
All right, for public use.
So it may have to actually come from High Street where the actual town supply goes.
Maybe that's
Don't
why it's so
think so.
dear. They've looked at it and that's maybe why it's so expensive.
So through
Yeah.
the chair, when I had a meeting with Lynn and Steve Elkington and Richard Hilton, they needed to confirm what was happening with the Laura Ingram building, obviously before that could be done, but
Still there, but
but
it's,
the 8,000 was pretty much bang on from what their expertise said.
yeah, it's just the source of the water that I'm worried about. As well, yeah. So, you know, like when we put the drinking fountain outside the museum, we had to connect it to the town supply to the potable water standards. So I'm just concerned that it may just need to be checked, that it's going to be legal.
Yeah.
From a supply point, that's all.
Yeah. What we could do is vote on these all one by one.
But a problem with it, just part of the deal would be the budget's there, as long as it includes the potable water, we've had to comply elsewhere.
I just have a question for E6 Travis Street resume improved signs. What was that? I can't remember. 4.6.
So the
Three improved signs.
So the better signs on Drover Street Reserve for cyclists giving way to pedestrians. The track is used by many elderly and young families. And many cyclists are traveling at high speed. So talking to Lynn Hall, 2,000 would cover, and she's had feedback on this as well from the community, would cover the bigger signs and then one smaller sign, which would be one of the signs would be double-sided. So that 2,000
Three signs
would cover, yeah.
Cool. And I know from our earlier discussions with the AED defibrillator about the maintenance as in batteries and checking and that. I can't remember where that fell. Did any staff come back was like, well,
Chair, yes.
yes. Okay, where are we at? What
Board replaced the pads at the police station one. There's the one before.
actually
It's
Lovely
sorry,
Motueka did.
what a way to replace
I
them.
thought we were ready.
No, the
No, it
board,
didn't go through.
no, didn't go through. We couldn't get a purchase order number, sorry, through the chair.
Yeah.
And they needed the pads urgently, so Love Motueka paid for the pads.
Councillor Walker.
Was there someone on the floor?
No, but they were run out. Councillor Walker.
Thank you, through chair. So with the saltwater baths,
Yes,
who will be responsible for checking and maintaining
that is my question.
that particular piece of equipment? That's my first question. Do you want my second one?
Well, I think councillor Maru answered that saying community board should. Second,
Situated where?
was it by the showers?
They,
Changing block?
so Lynn and Richard Hilton, if it gets approved through the special projects, they would then liaise to organise a location.
And will it come under like Malmac or someone else's contract?
So Danny and Debbie Fowler would sort the equipment And then
That's a
Lynn Richard
one-off.
would say, yeah, absolutely one-off.
Mhm.
I think it came from a public forum from Kevin Fury.
Yeah, it did.
Yes. So
After the accident that we had down there, this is what it was birthed from, but my question all the way along had been, who will be responsible with this piece of equipment in our community? Because
So-
it can't just be left unsupervised, because the batteries and things have to be checked, because I'm mindful of others that we're having to, other groups and community are responsible for. Whose banner does it come under? Because there's a cost.
it would come under the community board,
Right.
which would come under maintenance, I'm assuming.
So like sort of, we'd have to build it in like the little car. Hey,
And then who's responsible for checking it to make sure there isn't a problem when we go?
would we pay for it, for whoever does the other chicken? Debbie.
So those are just the things I'd like to understand. I don't have a problem with providing one post the accident. I would like to know whose banner it comes under to follow up, checking it, maintaining it, and who pays.
Absolutely.
And my other one, while I've got your attention, Chair, is the Ted Rees Reserve Barbecue and Shaded Picnic Area. I have big concerns about where we're going to put that in light of what we've been through and how much testing we've done on said site for our swing piece of equipment. Is it even feasible to even be thinking, in light of what we've discovered in the ground there, to be going ahead with $6,000 on a barbecue and shade picnic area?
Yeah. That's why I think we go one by one.
And I know, I'll be quiet now.
I might have a question. Can I have a question?
Yeah, come on.
I don't know if it's Paul or Leonie, it might be our new governance manager, but I'm confused why Love Motueka paid for the replacement pads for an AED that the community board's funded previously. But this used to be easy to get things done, to get replacements of things that the board had put in place. So before we buy another one, I want to be really clear who's going to be paying for the pads. So if it needs a line in this budget line, then it needs a line, but before we go and get another one, because
Well,
I'm assuming the police check the one at the police station to see the lights flashing and the batteries on. Danny would monitor the pads. So I'm a bit like Councillor Walker, where's it going? Who's looking after it? It almost appears it would be better to get a long-term resident in that street and say, is it okay to mount it on your fence? And give them some ownership of being the caretaker, but who's going to fund the replacement bits?
So Tagma
it's
has
used
one
to-
in
so-
Tasman, and we have allocated somebody in the community to take care of it because the store, albeit that it's on their building.
oh, so you've got a community person.
So through the chair, what happened, how
The
the
Tagma funded.
historically happened, so Medcare, Debbie and Danny Fowler, purchased the pads because they needed to be replaced. And we were trying to get a purchase order number, and it was proven to be quite difficult. So I spoke to, well, basically I was impatient. So I spoke to the,
I'm just trying to make sure it doesn't like,
Yeah. So
you get these where
I
you.
spoke to the Look On Away committee and I said, hey, look, we need to reimburse them, these
yeah.
pads. Can we just as a one-off pay for them? I think it was $175 and it was moved and seconded. So we paid Medcare for those pads because it was easier than trying to get a purchase order number,
That's the crazy bit, isn't it?
which was extremely frustrating. And it's nobody's fault. It's just a painful process.
Mhm.
And these pads needed to be replaced.
So any advice in terms of how we build that, because every 2 years, every 3 years, but it could get used tomorrow, let's hope it doesn't. But as soon as it's been used, then we'll need new pads. At a point, we need a new battery, there'll be a new battery cost, so. Or is the board just interested in putting it in place and then donating it to someone and handing it over and they look after it?
But
But
there's still a
it has
cost.
to be, it has to still a cost.
That is a tricky one.
Nothing worse than picking up a jump pack to start the car and it's.
It's flat.
Yeah.
I don't know, why it just can't be absorbed as a cost, and whoever checks other ones, we pay them to help. do that.
Through the chair, is there like a health and safety budget through TDC that fall under?
Is there any defibs under TCC at all? No, for enrichment?
Sorry. I'm aware of groups that have organised them and they have to pay all the costs associated with them. And I've even been aware of a group that's looking at getting one removed because it winds up being quite a substantial cost every few years. And that there's
Everywhere though, like we've gotten them popping up everywhere.
people are doing, community groups are doing it, fundraising for it,
Right.
or, you know, then
So we
discover
need
that there is maintenance
big
bills
issue, yeah. No, no,
in the hundreds of dollars.
yeah. Because they're expensive.
Harbour master vote.
Oh, yeah?
But there was a long debate around that in terms of cost, etc., and also the risk that, you know, you get it wrong or the whole lot of liability that goes with them. But we actually do have one on our harbour master vote now.
It's new.
Is that right? Yeah.
And so will that just be an operational cost? It's just part of,
They have a budget that they work with.
yeah.
And that's what I think through you, Chair, that councillor Murray was saying is that, and I personally don't have a problem supplying it, there needs to be budget attached to it. And our community need to be aware that when they ask for these things, it's not a one-off cost.
Yeah, so Chair, I think all of those things you should have a line item in your budget for those maintenance items. Because none of those come without maintenance. So anything that doesn't go back to council as a day job needs
Yes,
a maintenance item.
we identified that early on in our term.
Yeah, picnic table at Rewaka.
Realising at the river, realising that it was just a thought given that council would put it into their schedule of maintenance, but it hasn't actually been moved across. So part of the process now is deputy sits down with the staff and works out what's what. But we also understand that there's no budget in council for carrying these extra costs.
So the defibrillator was at the police station.
Yes.
Why the hell can't they replace it and then ask for some money afterwards? All these have all been requested and been paid for and been given. It's like a landlord being nice to a tenant, go, oh, here you go, mate, put in a washing machine for you, and then he breaks it and comes back and says, oh, I've got this, you're gonna have to fix it now. We were nice enough to come up with the money. Surely they have to pay their part to look after it.
There was a site we identified to put it at, so it was the community board that put it there. Police didn't ask for it.
Shoot
Very
ourselves in the
accommodating
foot,
of it,
don't
yeah,
we?
the line item to maintain it.
Well, no, I always, because that's the first time ever we've had a maintenance problem.
So how long ago was that, do you reckon that?
Oh. Probably my first two,
Okay, so
9 years ago.
it's not gonna be a regular thing, but it does need to be documented that it is, if it goes
I
through.
think the pads are 3 to 5 years through the chair, depending on
That's
depending on what the unit is. But traditionally, the ones I've dealt with Danny, the pads are cheaper. His pads and replacement bits are cheaper than some of the other machines.
okay.
Cheaper the unit, usually dearer the accessories.
So,
Just let them go.
sorry, through
Yeah.
the chair, just going back to when councillor Maru and I were on our first term on the community board, 2016. When we were looking at special projects, we never had to do a maintenance
No.
thing. It was always a given. So is that changed
Yes.
now officially or unofficially?
Unofficially, I think maybe it was something that was meant to be done, but you know.
Maybe it was ignored traditionally, Claire. We just, because remember, I guess through the chair,
Of the honesty.
it was fairly new in terms of, I think it might have been brought in the term before. So,
Special project.
But like it was still fairly new.
Okay.
So, you know, originally the intent was, it was funding that the community board could use to leverage things already in the long-term plan, but had been bumped out of the annual plan. So if there was a footpath,
It's growing.
you could actually leverage, here's $6,500 to grab that down the matrix a little bit if you make this work, and the writing team would come with budget. And then it sort of branched
Moved
out.
into where we're at.
Because it got a bit boring doing just footpaths.
I agree. And the community needed other things.
Yes.
Through the chair, that's So I've been around a long time.
Yeah.
My memory is it was essentially to get the things back when ex-councillor Ogilvy was on there. It was to advance things here that had slipped off the annual plan. So then once you'd built the footpath, maintenance is a given that it would go back to the council.
Yeah.
So these things are extra, and now you would have to budget for maintenance if you're committing to them.
Okay. Yeah.
Adam, sorry, through the chair, and I think also, in the last 2 or 3 terms is we've gone out to the public to ask for consultation of what would you like this special funds money to, and this is where this list has come from, amongst other, but this is what the community have asked for. So that's the difference as well. It's not
Doing the footpaths.
It's
Yeah.
not just,
Okay, so, are there any other questions around any of the other points? And then I guess, I think it's safest for us to go one by one, knowing that if there's anything that we put in, like we will have to have a maintenance line item that stays in the board's budget. Yeah. Which will come out of special projects pool of funds. So we'll have to tag that pool, just noting. We'll have to tag anything extra, so it may be a $4,000 cost with an ongoing $1,000 a year cost or something in the budget. Yes, councillor Walker.
So to be fair with you, Chair, when that sculpture got put down by the wharf, we had a budget line item in there in case that needed some repairs and maintenance or anything. And I note that that got removed because there was no uptake of it.
Yeah.
So it's not a new thing for this board to do. It's just that it's not in this particular budget.
Yeah.
So through
Parks and arrivals statute, sorry.
So why wouldn't we just have an estimated annual figure of maintenance budgets against special projects then? Just have a fund and that's where it is.
Yeah.
Because I have no idea how you're going to estimate when and where this is. And then we just need the system to loop back around when there's $175 of pads. It comes out of that budget. That's what it's for. But
Okay. Kelsey, do you mind adding a 4.9, which is a special projects maintenance budget line item?
and I just hear Mr. Drummond in my ear
Yes.
going, is that outside the scope of the special projects currently? Maintenance? I think it is.
Well,
But
here or there,
yeah,
let's have a quick, I
could take it.
I haven't got the policy and I do not have my,
Why don't we take it at that?
Might include another line into your annual budget.
another line.
Instead of the special projects, you've got your budget.
That's where it's gonna have to come out of though, because that's where the money is.
Money sits.
Oh, okay. Tell Paul. Paul, I know you've got to get going. We will be in touch offline. We'll have a discussion around the budget stuff and we'll get the outcome from this to run past you to make sure it's all kosher.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
thanks, Paul. So, sorry, through the chair, just think, so for example, item 1 and item 2, the barbecue picnic table and the landscaping. And the signage on Trewaver Street. That would come under, once it's in there, that would come under Parks and Reserves.
Yeah.
Maintenance.
They have to build it into theirs. Remember what
Into their
Richard said?
budget, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is what they've always done.
But, yeah, that's
So
what we
it's something
discovered.
we need to do.
So now they would say, right, we need to maintain such and such and then they would get a GL code from special projects and put to that.
So I think it's folded in the past, but now because of how everything is, they're very.
So, but it's a bit of a, sorry. We don't know what the figures are.
But through the chair, if it's okay. So if you were to nominate those, because what Court Council out this year is the number of reserves that get gifted to council as part of a development, and then the maintenance of the reserves and the assets in those reserves. So it's always been easy to receive a reserve or receive asset. It's
ongoing.
biting us now, maintaining those assets. So, or something, if you were going to do something that would become a reserve asset, I think it would be appropriate to ask reserves whether they're prepared to accept the asset, in which case they pay for future maintenance of it and they take it into their budget, or you agree to pay for maintenance and you hold it in your budget. So without it being accepted, the default theoretically should come back to you because it hasn't been accepted. Because this is what's killing the budget at the moment, is there are just so many
On and add
little
on.
bits extra, that have crept up.
Overwhelming. Okay.
So you could do it either way.
Yeah,
It's possible, we just had to make sure that
they can cover it.
they can cover it, yeah.
Who'd have thought being given land
Could be a problem.
was such a problem?
Yeah, yeah.
I suppose if that land has loads of houses all around it, it's part of a like, are you talking people, they do the subdivision, you've got to provide some greenway. Well, it should be self-funding because you've got all those people paying rates around it in a subdivision, but I understand if some old duck's got a lovely bit of land and she's going to donate it to the council, I can understand that being a problem. Oh, heck, hasn't been looked after for 45 years and now we've got to drain it. So, yeah. Well, if there's some land you don't want, I'll have it.
So are we happy to have a look at the special projects voting and then just put a line item with, I'll go back to Lynn and Richard on where the maintenance lies, whether they would be happy to maintain it, whether we need to put a line item in it. Or do we defer it again to next month? Just conscious of because last month's meeting was cancelled, it's been going on for quite a while.
How does the board feel?
Well, I think we go with these subject to being approved by Parks and Reserves. It's nice and easy. If they say, hey, look, no, this is too much, it's gone, let's move on.
Councillors? Do you want to leave it to lie, or would you be happy to go one by one with that provision?
No, actually, I don't have an issue with the projects out there, be fair, because I've not just heard them this term, I've heard them other terms they common. I'm probably a little bit more worried about the annual ongoing costs that we're committing a future board to. And my gut tells me that's probably, in fairness, up to the new board. We make a contract to keep Motueka beautiful, our town Motueka, and on the other ones. I'm a bit nervous about that commitment beyond this board term, but we've had special projects, as you well know, in there that haven't progressed or take a long time to progress. So I think that's subject to the staff is okay. I'm just nervous about the 0.9s onwards or whatever. The new ones that have added up.
But these ones here, 1 to 7, these are already been to the public and that's what they want. So it's not like we can be told off for.
No, that's right.
Well, let's do it then.
Yeah, through you, Chair. So you use Ted Reid's reserve as an example. So we went out to the community, they said that they wanted that play equipment. We put it through staff and lo and behold, so we allocated 10K for that project.
Don't have it.
We don't have the project, but not only that, it's not come out of your budget, the community board's budget line, but our staff have done shitloads of work with contractors to try and drill holes and do tests and that has come at a massive cost. And that's why I'm so uncomfortable with some of these suggestions.
That's why I think we do
Because for us, it's little figures, but actually for the staff to deliver and go, we'll just add it to their works program. That's, as Leonie said, that's how we've got ourselves in this financial.
So we'll either go one by one or we'll leave this to lie on the table till.
Plug on 10.
It's one by one or we leave it to lie. So is everyone happy to progress?
Well, to be fair, through the chair, if we hadn't have looked at the claw swing, we never would have known that Ted Reid Reserve was full of.
Yeah.
Do we need to know though? Because actually, when it was undisturbed, there wasn't a health and safety problem. Now we've got a health and safety problem.
Yeah, that's right.
Thanks
And
to
what
one
happens with the
Quincy.
existing playground?
Okay, let's come back on track.
Yeah.
Are we going to leave this to lie so you can go and investigate and do your talking? Are you happy to go one by one? Can I have a show of hands of happy to go one by one?
Yep.
Can I have a show of hands of leave it to lie? Okay, we're going one by one. Here we go. So, I'm gonna start, I'm just gonna read the whole thing. Here we go.
Taken so long to
Motueka
find
Community
out.
Board receives the special projects, notes and considers the community feedback received in May 2025 meeting and notes the carryover of $10,000 for the Motueka Key Historical Wharf Restoration Project. That's number 3. Number 4. Agrees to allocate funding to special projects. We are going to vote on these one by one. Oh, is everyone happy with 1, 2, and 3? Okay, so we can do that as a separate. Okay. Agrees to allocate funding to special projects following consideration of staff feedbacks on the scope and feasibility of projects for funding. So that's already covered. If it's a no-go, it's a no-go. Okay. Is there a mover for 4.1 Ted Reed Reserve?
Through the chair, do you want the highlighted to be added to clause 4?
To maintenance and ongoing. Yeah, well, yeah, we can keep that in there. It's just because it's under the staff consideration, but yeah, leave that in. So just the addition, subject to maintenance and ongoing cost budget being confirmed, agrees to what I said before. So is there a mover for 4.1 Ted Reed Reserve? Is there a seconder? Okay, okay, so all those in favour of 4.1, please say aye.
Right.
Is there,
Against.
okay, against, against. I'm against 2. So that's 2, 4, so no, not carried. 4.2, Motueka Skate Park, 2 picnic tables and 2 shade trees. I have no idea, is it trees, just trees? Planting or shade sales?
The public wanted a couple of picnic tables, sorry, through the chair.
Yeah.
The public asked for 2 picnic tables, and when I sat down with Parks and Reserves, it was their suggestion to say that they would put a couple of shade trees.
Okay, it is
with
trees.
it as well.
Okay, so that looks relatively cheap, 5,000 for 2 picnic tables. A move, yep.
Sorry, just to reiterate as well, all of these costings and the comments have all gone through.
Yeah, they've gone through the stuff. Yep. Everything's followed process. Mover for 4.2. Yes. Moved by Deputy Chair. We got a seconder. Okay, seconded by Councillor Dowler. All those in favour, please say aye.
Yep.
We've got one aye, 1 against.
Aye.
Hold on. Against. 4.
All four.
Personally, I would only want 1, but I will vote in favour. So that is carried. 4.3, walking cycle trails on Staple Street and Thorpe Street extension. Do we need a little bit of clarity around that? Please, Deputy.
So when we had a look with Steve Elkington on the street view, we had a look through, and on the corner is quite a marshy ground as you come through. So you're coming down Staple Street, and then you turn, you've got that left-hand bend before you then go round into the car park.
We said
And it's quite well, it's a bit like a bog, really. So there isn't really anywhere that you can do much with that, but there's lots of trees, and we had a look down there, and that they're not native trees or anything. We could get rid of a lot of that on the corner, which would make more visibility.
Okay,
And the 10,000 was for getting rid of all that obstruction on that blind corner. And also it would cover the traffic management.
to create a path.
Well,
create a path?
it would just create more vision on that blind,
Okay.
on that blind corner. Because you just can't see.
Oh,
You just
okay,
can't see
sorry,
around
for
it. It's
some
quite,
reason I had in my head that we're creating a
Well,
path.
it was supposed to be, the original idea was to have a little bit of a resurfacing, but there's nothing to resurface it on because it's just like marshland.
Okay, so it's a moving obstruction.
But if you get rid of all that vegetation on that corner, you wouldn't necessarily need to extend that pathway around the corner because you would have visibility.
Okay,
This is what was recommended by Parks and Reserves when we were looking at the area and Steve Elkington. That was the recommendation.
okay, are there any questions on that one? Yes.
So you're saying 10K to remove the vegetation and to limb the total tree? And that includes traffic management, 10K.
Well, to be fair, probably half of that would be traffic management.
Wowzers, this is the world we are sadly living with.
When you think that yeah.
Can I just ask Chair through Rob, but is Tasman District Council not looking at a different traffic management plan than what we've had previously? We were actually doing it, what I would make more common sense, less costly, whilst not putting lives at risk.
Traffic management is very emotive around the table, and
Thought it might be.
where possible, we would like to take a pragmatic approach to it.
Thank you. I struggle with the 10K, sorry.
Hold up, councillor.
I'm struggling. Maybe it is Staple Street is that road, but the car park's certainly dockland. Are we sure it's our land?
This is the
Yes.
bend. Before the
So-
car park.
Just the corner
Car
of Dr.
park
Bob's
needs to
land.
be done though.
Isn't it just so, I guess my question is, that's probably what the fund was set up for. Shouldn't this be council's normal budget? Clearing access to road
Vegetation.
from overgrown vegetation
Yeah.
or the property owners?
Remember, it's not happening. Deputy, sorry, why do I?
I thought- I thought that was for making a cycle trail.
I did too.
Yeah, so, okay, let's get on with voting.
Initially it was, to be fair, it was to create a bit of a
So
safety.
yeah, so it is about safety because it's quite narrow. You can't see around that corner. So the idea was to get rid of the vegetation and the big total tree there and limit up so that when you're driving or cycling or walking, you can see around the bend, you know what's.
I think
coming.
I
So it's
agree
a
that needs to
safety
be
issue.
pushed back to council.
Yep.
That's, I mean, that is health and safety, so that's a liability and, unless we have a mover on 4.3, do you want to move?
I'm happy to move if there's others against, but I'm happy
Is there
to
a
move.
seconder for 4.3? Okay, so that's not going through. I suggest we put action to
Could a service
Request.
request be done, please?
service request for
Safety issue on Staple Street.
maybe
Yes.
we can send your snippet of the information you've got.
Yeah.
And we can get an update from staff. Yeah, thank you.
If I can be helped with, I'm
Yes.
happy to move the next one.
Okay.
I think they.
Okay, 4.4 has been moved by councillor Maru. Have I got a seconder, please?
Yeah.
Seconded by deputy. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone against? Okay.
Should defib.
No, 4.4 historical.
Clarks.
Oh, Clark's.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Four.
Yep. Okay, so that's carried. 4.5, have I got a mover? 4.5, this is saltwater baths AED defib. Obviously, we have the clause up in 4 about
I'm happy to
Make-
move it if we.
Moved by
organise
deputy,
those meetings.
yes.
So in principle, I'm happy to second it. However, I need it attached to somebody to maintain and manage it.
Okay, could we put a, in brackets under that one, please, Kelsey?
No, it just says that we're gonna.
Yeah,
Ongoing cost.
okay, so it's,
So we got a board member that's gonna personally go down and check that, because that's
No.
what I read from there.
I cannot,
So-
I cannot make a board member in the future.
Principal,
go down
happy
and
to
check,
put it in, but we need somebody in the community that will put their hand up to be the,
Overseer.
Let's
Yeah.
put it to the vote.
Okay, so it's moved and seconded based on someone owning that responsibility. All those in favour, please say aye.
I,
Anyone against?
I'm against. Well, until we sort this out, I mean, it's a one, I know that, I hope it isn't me jumping in, making an out of myself and then having a heart attack. But until we sort this out, I think we put a hold on buying defibrillators because we've already got one in the paper we've gone for. So I think until we've sorted the situation out with buying
Okay.
defibrillators, we don't buy any more.
We've
until-
got majority, we can note down,
what's it
But
like to be the
that's all right, I'm
minority, mate?
but realising we haven't been allowed to note why you have said no.
Oh, well. I'm out the door anyway. You
Okay.
bad Nick.
So 4.5 is moved based on all of that criteria, please. 4.6, okay, moved. I'm happy to second. All those in favour, please say aye. This is Travis Street Reserve improved signs. It's 3 signs, one's double-sided. This is for, yep. So everyone in favour, please say aye. Anyone again? Okay, so that's carried, sorry. 4.7. Gosper Street footpath to Saxon Street, upgrade. Whoa,
Yes, so through the chair, this is a little bit of a complicated one. So there's 2 options, which I absolutely take Steve Elkington's advice on this. So in fact, this is actually quite technical. I think Councillor Dowler might know a bit more about this, on technical terms.
over
But-
to you.
But it seems like looking at it, there's a more expensive option, which would last longer.
Oh,
And then there's the cheaper option.
is this the cheaper one?
So,
10,000?
yeah.
Yeah, because it's 23.
So I'm quite happy to park this one until we've got a bit more information.
Okay. Is the board happy to park 4.7? All those in favour, please say aye.
Is it, you'll know, Barry, I don't, yeah.
Well,
Just rereading the explanation.
Yeah, thank you, yeah. It's your department.
Through the chair.
yes,
This is grassroots council stuff, you know, supplying footpaths. and
we
that
have
sort of-
done a footpath before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I,
Well, this, yeah, sorry, through the chair, like, like what Rob was saying earlier, the initial start of the special projects was to do footpaths and things like that, that were bringing it from the long-term plan and annual plan, that bringing it
So
down on the footpath.
my biggie is how deputies just pointed out that there's a, you know, and a more expensive version that would actually last longer, and this is the stuff we should be investing in. Or the let's just get it done, and who knows when the board's going to have to revisit or council. So I'm happy to second holding that.
okay.
So point of clarification, it's getting late. I thought special projects couldn't go over 10K. So
No, but-
doesn't that give you your answer as to which option? I personally
As
think a
in we
footpath
have
here
a
is a good
partnership
thing.
with TDC where
But-
they could pay the 13,000.
Did I read that that was a partnership with them though?
No, but that's what I'm saying.
No.
But
Could be, no way,
could
Rob.
be.
We can go over $10,000.
Yes, we can.
There's a word in there that says not normally or shall normally be,
Yes,
but not absolute. That's why we've done 30.
We
for
have
other-
done
that's
Yeah.
right, yes.
skate park and,
Exceptional, like
Yeah.
skate park.
Tax reserve.
so anyway, Are we, only because I'm like, I don't really want to be throwing 10K for something that could actually be done better. So moved, seconded.
Aye.
Aye. All those in
What were we
favour?
voting on? Leaving it on the table.
Parking.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyone
happy,
against?
Councillor Downer, if we park it till we get more information?
Is he awake?
Councillor,
He's-
hello.
There, are you awake?
Are you happy to hold?
Trying to work out the methodology here because it starts off saying widening it to 1.8 metres. It doesn't tell me how wide the footpath is to start off with. Is it only 1.2?
1.4.
1 metre.
Or is it 1.5? There's two numbers here, 1.8, 1.5, and I don't know what the existing footpath is, so
Okay.
I'm a
These
bit
are-
lost.
Let's
It's
Left
park
it
like-
on the table.
let's park it and we'll meet on site.
Suggest you maybe follow up on that suggestion that if you, because essentially footpaths are ranked for priority, aren't they?
Yes,
You've got
yes.
so much money to spend, and the reason why you're advancing this one is because it didn't make the list. So if it had a contribution from the board, would it then make the list? It's worth exploring that if you wanted to try for a better longer term option,
Well, certainly,
that
I
might,
would.
that might change that.
certainly happy to meet with Steve on site and try and get an explanation.
Sounds good. So we've got it moved and seconded. We've got two ayes. Have we got two more ayes or against? Okay, so that's carried. So Kelsey, can we please have an action for 4.7? It's so that it's not going ahead. It's moved and seconded to park, moved by deputy, seconded by the chair in favour of board. With an action for councillor Geller to catch up with Steve Elkington about potential of the board contributing to the more expensive option to do a good job and get the further details around that, so there's clarity.
And for us to meet on site.
Yeah.
Lost that.
Okay, so 4.8, Motueka tennis courts, drinking fountain, $8,000. Have I got a mover?
Yep.
Okay, we've got a move. Deputy has moved. Have I got a seconder?
Are we moving and seconding now? Sorry.
Councillor has checked out of the building. 4.8,
There and Trina up there already.
Motueka. No, that's not us. No, I'm not drinking fountain person. It's just clear. You're right, councillor Downer. Thank you for bringing to attention. So it's moved by deputy chair. We're looking for a seconder.
Subject to being investigated for.
You can add, that is part of the criteria at the start.
Yep.
So if you,
Yeah, I'm happy for it to proceed as long as it doesn't exceed $8,000
Mhm.
and it's connected to potable water. But if we've got to go another 20 metres out
I
to Wall
think-
Street, connect
I think that would need to be noted.
15 grand.
Yeah,
I'd be happy with that.
Yes.
Saw that.
oh, cool.
Thank you.
Okay, so it's moved and seconded, subject to Kelsey's great, she's capturing all of that. All those in favour say aye.
Aye. Now, some of these,
You are the aye. You two are the ayes.
I know,
Looks like we are the nays. Against.
I'm not convinced because it
Not convinced.
clearly says to the Laura Ingram water supply.
Okay, so it's not carried because there's 4 against.
You can buy a lot of drink bottles for $8,000.
Plastic.
Yeah, but
I
I mean, I certainly think there needs to be water accessible, but there are water issues in that whole area there. I mean, well, it's uneven flushing, et cetera, et cetera. Yes,
We have a walkway through to Paul Street. And I understand there is a potable water supply down Paul Street now. So it could be maybe run through there and it may only cost $8,000. That's what I'm talking about. If it can stay within the budget, and be connected to potable water,
yeah.
I'd be happy with it because it is a kids drinking,
well,
playground drinking fountain. Kids need water.
so it's through the chair, when I met with Richard Hilton and Lynn, as my notes here, the condition was that they would look into the water supply. So if they can't find the water supply and Laura Ingram building gets demolished, then it's not going to be a go ahead anyway.
No,
So this was are you in favour of doing it on condition that there's water supply and it's only going to cost
Okay.
8,000?
I totally agree. It would be great to have water there accessible for community, but we've voted, it is not passed. It can come back round at a later date. I'm just not convinced there's some issues in that area that need to be addressed. So that is that segment. I'm just going to backtrack to the first 3 points because I sort of did all of this separately. So I'll move 1 to 3. Can I have a seconder of that? It's just the standard, we're receiving the report, and also around the historical wharf restoration, $10,000 carry over. Yep. Okay, seconded by deputy. All those in favour, please say aye. Anyone again? Okay, so that part's carried. Right, so we had concern, I moved, seconded by the deputy. And we had concerns, with Councillor Maru raised concerns with the extra bits that we just added in, which were out of our annual plan submission, by the 3 elected board members, which was, scroll down, please, Kelsey. Which have been removed. Oh, no, there we go. No. There we go. Yep. So,
It's probably, so did you get a response from the annual plan submission?
no, just that it was
Submitted.
received.
So it hasn't,
Well, unless I have not seen something extra.
because I guess if it's been ratified as part of the annual plan submission, then I guess that's it, but I don't remember.
Well, I have no
receiving it.
idea.
Yeah.
We can park this till next meeting.
So, yeah, so if it's in the annual plan submission through chair, then it's in the annual plan submission, it's a foregone conclusion, I guess, but if it's not, I'm nervous about committing the next.
CE has something to say.
A submission doesn't mean it's in, so
No.
people ask for lots of things.
Yes.
If it was in part of the ratification of the annual plan, it was listed, then it would be in. If you can't remember it, there's a good chance that it isn't in.
How
Why
would
do you
it
say
get the
that?
ratification?
Well, it'd have to be something that the councils will go through all the submissions, they see all the submissions, and they would have to decide what they felt would go forward. So, yeah.
But this, what we're just saying is it was submitted, but it hasn't been included
Yeah.
as part of their ratification for
So
the annual plan.
can I just say something? So getting back to, I think it was Councillor Maru that mentioned it, give me if it wasn't you, but we were talking about making decisions that, you know, the future board, I think. We are the board now. And so we make decisions, otherwise, you know, in the last quarter of our being on the board, you know, we can't make decisions because the future board might not agree with it. I don't agree with that. We're on the board until we're not elected on. So therefore, if the current board wants that, then we submit it.
Well, yes, so if it's in your budget, you can do that.
Yeah.
Under your special projects. If that's
It is,
you
yeah.
don't have to have, what you've got is a line item in the annual plan that says special projects X dollars, 41K or whatever it is. And then you decide what you want to do with that under the 10K limit. So whether that fits in there, I'm not sure, but I think what you're asking for is actually, you'd like to go ahead with these as under your special projects, but you'd like staff to do a bit of feasibility around some of them to help you with that. Is that what I'm understanding?
No,
So then.
we just want to put it through, but in our proposal, it was like the board should look at 3-year plans.
Yeah.
And so that was part of the proposal. But knowing that we have reserves in our special projects, it was let's access some of that, start this off and you know, advise the board, future board to maybe look at 3-year plans so that there's some consistency. For example, get the litter cut.
Yes, and this was advised when myself and the chair had a meeting with Paul Egan from the financial. He was recommending putting something, you know, for each
So that's, sorry, good Chair, that's through your own budget though.
Yes.
Not through the council. so
No,
it is
that's
your
right.
decision.
It was more of like, keep putting it forward that this is what we suggest for future.
Yes, so I get that. But in terms of the criteria to special projects, usually one-off, usually not event-based, and usually considered and consulted with the community each year. So this is pre-spending, because I'm not sure how many years you're proposing.
3,
Three, so you're,
saying 3 year plan.
so you're committing future spend.
Oh, it'd have to be year by year because this is based on what's left in reserves,
Right,
not the additional funds. So this was working out reserve funds, which
So-
was at that time like 100 and something.
like it's all merged though, so at the moment the board's using the reserves, both at special projects and budget top-up, because there is no targeted rate for special projects anymore. It's just a Motueka community board rate in your income line.
Yeah.
So that was taken out to reduce rate.
Yes.
So that's exactly the same plot of where it's coming from. But if it's a budget item, I guess you can, but I'm nervous about committing it beyond the term of the board. That would be like this board coming in and going, we don't have any discretionary spend for 3 years because the previous board's already committed it. And I guess that's what councils do. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe it's not.
Look, I am happy if we let this sit so we can mull on it because it is new.
Yeah.
Okay, did you want to?
Yeah,
Yep.
just, I guess we need a little bit more information because we know in the annual plan, K&B has got money coming from Tasman District Council. And I'm consciously aware that tonight we've already given discretionary fund for the Christmas parade. We've also got a conflict of interest with the chair of that group sitting with a coordinator at the table, and also potentially our community grant sitting there waiting for funding for said event. So for me, it's a little bit hard to swallow not knowing the full context, and that was 3 community board members that have put that through. And I'm a bit like Brent, if you do it as a one-off, but it doesn't fit the special project criteria, how do you get that through? But certainly I wouldn't be supporting it ongoing until we knew exactly what else funding is coming in, because that comes out of the same ratepayer's pocket.
Okay, so once again, this is accessing funds that are sitting there. I know it's all in the same pool, but it's like what we did when we accessed for skate park and using money that's not being used. But I think it's important that I feel we should park this because there's probably a bigger conversation we could have around this, of where this has come from. Just to get in context, because it was basically submitted and then we haven't had last month's discussion. So if everyone's happy, we can actually just remove those ones if everyone's happy, and then we can talk about that, add them in a report for next time, Kelsey. Yeah, everyone okay with that? Thank you. Okay, so sorry, Leonie.
Right.
I didn't have it in my run sheet of like. So I'm going to just hand the floor to Leonie to speak, and then we will talk about.
Okay, so I just really wanted to come along. I know I haven't been at many of these. I've had a rough 18 months since I became the CEO, with my husband dying, obviously getting cancer last year. So I had been out for 3 months, so I haven't actually been able to come. I've had a lot on, so I do apologise. I would have liked to have got out more. But I'm here today to sort of say thank you, Sharina, for your wonderful chairing. I know it's been a difficult training with changes of chairs, and I know our support staff, we haven't really had consistency there. We're trying to get governance advisors who are fully trained and not necessarily got their day jobs to do as well. I know Kelsey does, but that's your job. That's what she's great at. So thank you to you. Thank you, Claire, for all your work, and I know you're standing again, so good luck. Nick, thank you. I know it's been a challenge for you. I know you probably didn't get to where we would have liked to get through, but look, no one can ever say that you don't have passion for certain issues, so I always respect that. So thank you very much for your time. And of course, we've got our board councillors here and turning up to these types of things every month is actually, hard work as well, but it's your leadership that helps these community boards be successful. And obviously, Barry, you're standing down, so you won't. No doubt you might be in the audience at some. I'm sure you will be.
Come. Your reason.
Yeah, but look, there's always learnings, I guess. And I think that it's good to have people returning, who've got some experience. So Claire, I'm sure you'll be returned. I'm sure you'll be okay. Yeah. So that's really what I came for today. Look, it's good to see that actually some of the money's being spent, because there's been historically the money hasn't been allocated out. There hasn't been a focus on that. So that's great. You're getting some stuff done. And you're very close to what's needed, more so than we are staff, and it's also sometimes, councillors sitting in the council chamber, they're not necessarily closer to the issues. And again, apologies for the last community board meeting. I was just told it had been cancelled. I don't know what happened. We still were in a state of emergency. That finished, I think, that day. I just looked at the 4 o'clock report, and we still had, some challenges. And I think there was probably good reasons for it, but the way it was communicated, I understand, was pretty poor. So I apologise for that. I think, but I know we did have the regulatory committee 2 days later, but we're out of state of emergency at that point. And also Kim is the advisor for that, and he wasn't involved in the emergency, whereas Rob and John and Richard are all controllers in the AOC. So they were working, we're trying to have time down for them so that they could rest, doing night shifts, etc. So it was a pretty fraught time. So anyway, apologies for that. And obviously, we had the community meetings around the storm events, and they were very well attended. I went to the Roka one, Ngāti Motu one. They were really well attended and really appreciated. And just to let you know, I've got navigators out there who are working with people who have been really affected, to help them with getting the support that they need in terms of what their welfare needs are, their immediate needs for support from council. So we're working really hard there. So I'm sure you'll hear a bit more about what's been going on, but it's an awful lot of work going on. So apologies, as I haven't been along to your meetings. It just hasn't been a very good year, really. But anyway, moving on. So hopefully when there returns next terrenium, that I'll be able to pop out at least once every few months to one of these meetings here.
That'd be great, and thank you for coming at the time to come today. I know you can't make this meeting, so on behalf of the board, we do appreciate you here, and good to get that clarity around our meeting. So it was not me that cancelled it. It was also not the CE that cancelled it, and it also wasn't the mayor that cancelled it. So the CE is going to look into. Yeah, I'm going to find out why actually, but it was a poor communication all round. I think it might have been good reasons for it, but it certainly wasn't the way we'd like to operate.
Yeah. Just one thing I'd like to say, talking about the recent floods, the Mayoral Relief Fund. I'd like to acknowledge Jim Prater. Yes. Been communicating with him quite a lot, helping people do their applications. Yeah. And he's been absolutely amazing to deal with, so helpful. He's really gone the extra mile, made it a lot easier for people to communicate. So yes, please thank. I will thank him, Jim. Just sitting outside my office. It's been to deal with. Yeah, it's been a very, very successful in terms of the amount of money we've managed to get in, and also the amount of money we've managed to get out the door, because obviously it's got a bit of scrutiny over it. But Trinity sits on that committee.
Just saying. As I would quite
Anyway, look, I'm going to pop away now, but I might not see you again, but you might be around.
I'll be around.
Yeah, I'm sure Nick will be around. So we'll see you around. So to speak. Thanks. Yeah. No, thank you. So much.
Safe travels home.
Yeah,
chaos out there.
Drama out there. So yeah. I didn't see it coming through though. I went past the end, there wasn't anything going. Oh, is that?
this morning.
Oh dear.
So.
Treachery, yeah. Busy roads. All right then.
All
Thank you
right.
very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, guys, we are on the home stretch. We are.
Nearly,
I don't know.
nearly
if
9
you've-
o'clock.
I don't know if you've heard much about our meetings, but this is good timing right now. This, hence why we have food, nibbles to keep everyone sustained.
We're fighting over the last biscuit.
You didn't read my submission.
Yeah, because it went to the Nelson City Council.
What?
Point 3. Bullet point 3. No wonder I
What?
didn't read it.
Nelson, oh, you're joking.
Well, that's what it says on your work.
Yeah, but it didn't go to Nelson City Council.
Three.
So you're like literal that it actually went there.
I'm gonna get you another biscuit.
Okay. Phew.
Sorry.
So now what's your excuse? Okay, team, we are moving on to page 41, 8.6 board report. So this is old, but I guess there was just a couple of things I really just wanted to acknowledge. Our board members that have been working tirelessly over the past month or so. I know you work tirelessly anyway, but especially in recent events, which is massive, and I haven't managed to get around to see all the carnage, but I know a lot of you have been out amongst it and dealing with community members, trying to support them through, which is a horrific time for many people in our isolated communities, still dealing with cleanups, and that could be a year or so to get things back to something livable, and in some cases it won't be able to be salvaged. So there's a lot of hurt in the community, I know, and so yeah, thank you, genuinely thank you for your contributions to support our community. Obviously, the other thing I did want to touch on that's I spoke to Leonie before the meeting started because I was told it was her that cancelled a meeting, so I did want to make sure that we acknowledged. So if it can be minuted, please, Kelsey, that the last board meeting was not, because I know this got changed in our write-up here, was not cancelled by the chair. It apparently was not cancelled by the mayor. It was not cancelled by Mr. Ridd, and it was not, as you just heard from Leonie, cancelled by her. But understanding that was a time of, there was a lot going on. So yes.
State of emergency, the CEO has certain powers,
Yes.
but if the CEO hasn't, somebody did.
Yeah, that's what I've asked
Yeah,
you
but
to look into.
somebody did.
Somebody has, and
Well, do we not know who that somebody is?
we know who it's not. So it's not me, it's not John.
I know it's not you. It should have been you.
Yes, yeah, that is.
And they have not followed protocols.
That is standing orders. Yep. So I just want to check, is there anything specific in here that anybody wants to?
You've got the public forum from last time.
Yep, that's just an update of what was like communicated back. And if there's nothing on the other points, Kelsey, we want to,
Where are we up to?
I'm just saying, is there anything in the board report before we move on discussing about public forum? But I've just checked with Kelsey around speed management. You would like to park that one, or?
No, we're fine to move forward.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, yes, Councillor Walker.
Thank you, through you, Chair. Just a point of clarification that the managed out documentary was actually
Cancelled.
held on the 15th of August.
Oh,
So last Friday.
oh, last one. Okay, I didn't get that read.
Because
Right.
The 11th was clearly in the eye of.
Did anyone manage to go? Okay, great. And feedback, because I got sent the link, but I still haven't watched it. Yes, I'm sure.
It was on Saturday over in the Bay.
Yeah.
We were there was about 130 people there.
Oh, wow.
Well attended.
Great. And feedback from the Bay?
I think people generally took it on board.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. So something everyone worth watching? Yes.
You can watch it online now.
Yes.
And I suggest everybody should look at
So
it.
maybe we share that link round.
So too.
So can you share that now? I'll be keen to.
Yep. Yep. Yes.
What about the news?
Yeah, I mean.
Through the chair, is this the time, during the state of emergency, there was some issues which came up, which, since we've got Rob here, being one of the heads of the civil defence.
Oh, yep,
Maybe
yep.
he could answer some questions.
Okay.
One afternoon I received three correspondents, three separate people, then four, that had been visited by civil defence. Now, they weren't actually civil defence. They were enforcement officers. And during they came up under the guise of asking if they need help. They were told in no uncertain terms they didn't need help. They were able to drive there. And the end result was that people felt they were being interrogated, and it did degenerate to at least two of those people were in tears when they were talking to me, that they felt they were going to be made homeless because they were told by the civil defence that we're here with our civil defence act, but we will be back to see you over unconsented dwellings. This during a state of emergency when these people are already suffering, and some of these people were, in fact, refugees from a couple of years back when they were involved in the Graham Valley evictions. And the Schaffner case now is very well known. These people have now gone into hiding. They are leaving. And so basically these people were now refugees in their own town. They've already been moved once from the Graham Valley up to here. They were told in no uncertain terms, no, we don't need any help. We're fine. Thank you very much. One of them was a female person, and I think she was probably more aware than the other one, because the next morning, a helicopter came up with a whole lot of parcels. Now, you can drive up there. You don't need a helicopter. So I felt with all of this wonderful work, which civil defence and everybody else has been doing, has been undermined by the actions of, well, basically one person, because I know the female person was very kindly. And it carries on with another case, but I won't get into that. But I felt that this has undermined the integrity of the civil defence. Now, that is fact. I'm not making it up. This is what they came to me for. Yeah, they were living in buses, okay? And they already knew, the person concerned, the enforcement officer, already is well aware of those people. And I felt, this is my opinion now, I felt that this was an excuse because he's probably copped a bit of grief because I have made inquiries into this enforcement officer's actions, and it's probably come back on him, and he knows exactly where, joining the dots, it would come from. So I've held off on laying a complaint with Nick Smith because I felt he is out of the, but I trust your integrity, and I ask that you, Smith, undertake an investigation into this. Thank you. That's all I have to say on that. You don't need to.
You can.
So we didn't have any enforcement officers out as part of our response. We did have
It was civil defence. They were civil defence.
Right. So we had Landsat, our rapid response team, and Red Cross out and about. So if it was someone directly from civil defence, it would have been welfare, because we don't, the enforcement officers they're not part of, there are building inspectors. When we do a rapid assessment, there's definitely building inspectors in with those teams. But if you are happy to give, because the only way I can follow up is to know the locations.
Yeah, happy to. I'll do it offline, of course.
Yes. So if you were to give me those locations, I can search then who did those visits, because all the visits are logged, and then see who was involved. So I know that some of the Landsar team certainly came across people who were had notices on their gate saying that they subsequently did come out and talk to the Landsar people. In fact, one of them gave a parcel to take up the road to the neighbours, so they obviously were personable.
Landsar, so are they TDC employees?
So some of them, but in a private. So land search and rescue. So we have council staff who volunteer for Landsar. We also have council staff who volunteer for our New Zealand response team. So they're not paid. They're doing that voluntarily. So with that hat on, so within those teams, there could have been a building inspector. So they would have normally had sometimes a welfare person who probably would have been Red Cross, a building inspector, and then a response team or a Landsar person.
Well, things have just got a little bit worse then, because I know exactly who it is. And he is a repeat offender for people coming to me with problems. And from what you've just told me, it looks like he shouldn't have been there. So anyway, we'll take this up offline because it's not
the addresses I can find.
Yeah, most certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
So just tailing off what Board Member Hughes was saying, we had a drop-in centre at the end of last month, and several people shared stories, and two were around the same topic that Board Member Hughes is speaking about. So I have got the information. We're not going to make it public because it's personal stories, but it is something that could probably be part of the conversation. Okay, anything else from there before we discuss today's public forum? Which
Deputy is going to talk to this, apparently. So the first item was our lovely Ian Williamson. So he's given everybody his paperwork. On item 4, which is talking about the Twin Oaks trees, I do believe that there is still a meeting that's going to be happening with that because there's a couple cancelled, correct?
Yeah, but it's more about the action to follow up with staff to make sure that pre-planned trim, which Ms. Williamson's speaking about, is when is it going ahead?
When is it going ahead?
Yeah.
So we need to follow that up, which we'll definitely look at that. And also the item 3, talking about the heavy traffic from vehicles down Parker Street. I have am I allowed to talk on this on that? Yeah. So on a personal note, I have been speaking with Steve Elkington and Jamie McPherson, and I've sent an official letter from talking about Parker Street and Parr Street, heavy traffic and the consequences of that happening. So Steve Elkington has acknowledged receipt of that, and he's going to be looking into it. He said he was going to talk to somebody called Bill. I have not come across him before. This one's. So, and so depending on what the response is, I guess is, I did say, look, and Steve Alcott is aware of this, is I'll forward the letter to the councillors so that they can look at it as well, because there's quite a few reports. So, I mean, I'm happy to forward the letter that I sent to the councillors here, and then we just await the response from TDC. So there is something there's something happening, and hopefully we'll hear back. So the initial response a while ago was pretty much, it is what it is, tough. But it's not good enough. Councillor Walker.
Deputy Chair, like, we every now and then receive these emails as councillors about the unintended consequences of decisions that are made. And I think what has birthed out of Parker Street and Parr Street is the unintended consequences of us with Waka Kotahi putting in roundabouts and traffic lights, and this has birthed this other problem. So I'd like to hope that around the table, when Steve Alpington and yourself and others are talking, that party comes to the party and has some dialogue around the unintended consequences, which are now financially coming back to, hit Tasman District Council. I think that's fair to say.
And that was, sorry, through the chair,
What
that was
you're sharing.
one of the points was the unintended consequences is it's gone from taxpayers to now ratepayers.
Which also are taxpayers, just saying. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So now we have to constantly resurface and fix the roads due to a consequence that was out of our control. So, now item 1. Now, sorry, I did see Easy Sweep today. They were through the town today. Yes, I gave them a wave. So I guess, and I know in the past that I put service requests in, and that he does go on a cycle, like every couple of weeks he comes around. So it's on a regular cycle that Easy Sweep comes around and sweeps out the drains.
Will be deducted now,
Is that-
reduced.
I'm not sure that cycle's as regular as it used to be.
No.
It may pay for the board to ask. I think it's been reduced.
It's been reduced.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
So it's not every 2 weeks now.
No.
which is why you would.
You can keep dreaming that, but that's not.
Concerns from residents.
Right.
But in terms of the service request.
Yeah. Yeah, so that will be right back to you to pass on, is if there an issue, if there's an issue in the community, put a service request through. Like if you need to get lead net removed, put a service request through, because it's not regular now.
It's really, especially because it relates to an identified problem that the board's already working with. So specifically Twin Oaks now leaves.
So David Ogilvie, so he was looking at 5 actions for the Motueka Estuary, Mootry Inlet, particularly looking at whether what happened at the Waimea Inlet will be replicated here, is what I got from that. There was a few items that were options. One was more land for NZMCA, grazing lease, community gardens, restoration plan for Keep Motueka Beautiful. They were looking at the salt marsh work and looking at green statement requirements from Jenny.
This is all part and parcel of this deal that's been going on with NZMC, which is a commercial enterprise. It's not a charity. And they were paying approximately $100 a week last time for the original land, and they want more. They've all publicly stated that it's a very profitable place. They want to extend. So you're going to have the people may change and the units change, but they will be there permanent. You know what I mean? Like there will be a big
Always
white
up.
van there, always there.
Yeah.
And I brought up that, well, why can't we have a place for people to live? And no, that breaks the 8-week rule. But the same people are going to be there when there's a flood. You know what I mean? Or they move. And once again, with people with tiny homes, I feel that the argument to no, we're not having tiny homes or anything there. That's it. Especially when we've made a recommendation to council over the 8-week rule. I think more thought should have gone into this. It looks like, as I said before, that council had this idea. Then we spent, I don't know how much. I think it was 11,000 the last time I on a consultant, which basically came back with exactly what the council wanted. It's almost like the decision was the consultant just provides the credibility for the decision and the choice.
Where it is.
Yeah. And it would be interesting to know what these lease agreements are with the Motorhome Association to give them a massive area. I mean, if they're going to double it and add another $100 on, I still call that a peppercorn lease when they're going to potentially make a lot of money out of it.
So I just want to just make sure my history is the same as everybody else's around this table. So this board authorised that funding for the consultant.
Yes.
Does it come out of the Motueka Coastal? It was. And I actually think you might have second removed it, Nick. So this board had a presentation asking for a paper. And actually, I'm one of the councillors that absolutely think it's awesome if the Motorhome Association do get the extended land. Because remember, they had a proposal to also put in a little dog park that we couldn't fund either. And the alternative was, it was a grazing lease of $500 a year the council got. So whatever lease they pay will be significant. And in terms of the visitors that come to town and a commitment to replanting that area, I think the board landed on a good decision, but that decision to proceed with the consultant absolutely comes through this table. So, and I've certainly, and there is discussion. I know it hasn't been finalised. There's discussion about what that lease and those arrangements are, but certainly the early bits that I saw, it's landed where I'm really comfortable with in terms of not only allowing for some replanting on the boundaries, taking grazing out of a coastal area, and actually extending the opportunity for people to come to town. So I know it's unpalatable because of the other part in terms of housing for tiny homes, but we can't keep putting the things together. We can't stop everything just because one other part's the rule is unpalatable. But that's my history lesson, is I'm sure that it came through this table.
And I will speak to that. I placed faith in the system that would look into this. Nobody talked to me. These consultants, no one came to me. I'd already placed my concerns forward and it was just ignored. And then they just came up with this. I felt if a consultant was going to look in and investigate, they would look at those, not just come up with the standard, oh, it's the 8-week rule. No, they can't. And it's too low. Well, as I said, the people are changing. The vehicles may change, but they're the same vehicles. They're great big white things with wings on. Okay. And so what is the difference between that and a tiny home? I mean,
I'm confused. So the report was around extending land for, one of the options, extending land for NZMCA, which is a totally different concept to extending land for a tiny home place. And as you know, there's one across the road that's trying to get consent, I hope. But in terms of the discussions, so there's criteria, not everybody can rock up to the NZMCA camp. It's for members and that, I believe.
Yeah,
that's correct.
But
I'm saying that this consultant didn't seem to do anything other than do a quick quote.
Yes. Yeah, I just want to follow on that. So yes, correct. It came around the table. It was at $60,000
Yeah.
and we said no. And I believe you're right. I think
Yeah,
a couple of others said, let's do 30, that were comfortable. And I agree, waste of money if it's going to come and tell us exactly what we'd already said.
Hey, and if I passed it, it was because I placed faith in the system, and that's really knocked me because, as I said, I can't just to blanket go, no, you can't do that because the 8-week rule,
Well,
especially when council had 4 workshops over the 8-week rule, which is the other thing. We've got one more meeting, and next month we've got to talk about this because we just have to.
Councillor Walker.
I quite like the mood lighting. The deputy chair almost makes me feel like it's home time. I just want to share that from my memory is that, yes, the community board put it through, but also the community board was invited to the workshop with the consultant and our staff, and we chewed the fat on this. I, from memory, remember, I took an aha moment. I remember that the chair attended, be it right towards the end because she had other commitments and ran in late for it, and no other community board members came to the workshop, and that was our opportunity, and we did chew the fat. We talked about all options that could or could not happen on said site, and that's where it's landed.
Is this the same consultant where I requested historical, or is this a different one? Is that meeting? That I never. No, it might have been a different one.
Yeah. Because there was a lot of conversation about the neighbours and the implications, and rightfully or wrongfully what their community leases may or may not look like, without going any further, because I'm consciously aware that some of this is not, you know, is commercially sensitive. So.
Oh, I think museum site.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, Lordy.
Well, the decision's been made.
Lights out.
Lights out. Let's go home.
So to answer that in fairness, I don't think the decision around the lease has been finalised, but it's being discussed.
That's what.
Yeah.
That's what
So
my question
yeah,
was.
so I don't think.
Probably wanted to know, isn't it? So.
Well, I think we should do a profit share.
So we need. So if we could request a report.
What do you reckon?
Yeah. I'll say.
So.
Mary knows. Well done.
Oh, well,
But so someone else can do it. Yeah.
yes.
So the issue of requesting a report is you're taking up staff time, and that comes at one of these unseen costs.
That
What
staff members,
actually
yeah.
do you want from a report?
Well, we need an update, what's happening and what are they going to do? What is the option? And where the budget is going to come from?
I can, through the chair, I can see, so something was put in May in the file for this. And so there's certainly been progress. So I think it would be okay to go back to the landowner, in this case, I'm guessing it's reserves, and ask for just an update. It's only a paragraph. It's just.
I think it's Nick Chin's team, I think.
Property, sorry, just ask for an update on the status of that project. That should be a relatively quick response. So not to rehash anything, just an update on the process right now.
From that earlier.
Stated not to rehash, because.
Yeah, you just want, where is it at?
Where is it at? What's the update?
Well,
I
just
can see
overread
the
this
notes in
one.
the system, so they should be.
Fantastic. All right, next. I think there was Christine Schaefer.
So there wasn't any questions, I believe, unless it was any statements about started talking about the Motueka Community Board that was cancelled, and the
delegations.
Delegations, enforcement staff asking if this is pretty much what board member Hughes was saying. Enforcement staff asking during the floods if people were living in unconsented dwellings. It's not appropriate timing for search warrants.
when she was talking about search warrants, it's not appropriate when children are present. So I think you two are going to be talking to each other.
There's two different things here. So one is if we are required to go back and do evidential, we end up having to have a constable authorising that. So that's just the way a search warrant works. We aren't detained, it's up to the officer to manage the people that are there. So nobody's put in a wagon and taken away for detainment. So that's around, from a point of view of people asking, is that bus, that shed, that dwelling occupied during a response? That is about health and safety. So the primary response or the primary requirement under civil defence, under response, is to protect life and property. So that is our primary aim. In order to protect life and property, we have to know whether there's someone there, and it's on a no fault basis. If there's someone in the shed, we have to know there's someone in the shed, because if we're going to evacuate them or shift them, we can undertake those actions. So we have to separate the issue that community member Hughes is talking about from if we're going to do something as part of an enforcement process and back, you will see a search warrant. That's just the way it works. If you are going to see a rapid response team doing survey during a civil defence response, they will ask, is there people in that shed, in that bus, in the house? Because and so that information is captured, and then we know what to do if it escalates, because we then have the power to shift them if necessary or not. So we will ask if someone's there.
So that's a separate, so we'll respond
That
to
is separate.
completely separate to.
Yeah. So one is just a process
Mhm.
given through the following up the enforcement process. That's not arbitrary. That is a formal process. The other one is us protecting life and property under civil defence.
Yes, yes.
Thank
you.
Only because Rob's opened Pandora's box. I gotta go.
Here you go, Rob.
So I often hear Rob, it's in particular from enforcement. Once we know things, we can't unknow things. So, but we serve two different absolute roles. So Landsar, responding to an emergency, life and death, health and safety, to the day job I do, are totally two different commitments and two different responsibilities. So it would be no surprise why some property owners way up the back of country just go, oh, we're okay, we'll get through. We don't, because if there's not a difference and not a separation of that, I can see how some people won't reach out for help. And so I guess I'm interested in you and Nick having a conversation in terms of my role as a volunteer in an organisation. I can't unknow it, but what I do with the information I know when I go back to my day job does compromise civil defence in my mind in terms of having the same open arms in a community, a bit like in the old days when firefighters would go to the pub and squirt people with their high pressure hoses because they were brawling and it was an easier way of separating. Don't do that anymore, because when firefighters turn up, they're there to help. And there's that separation. So it does challenge me in terms of, but what I think I also heard is that there's potentially no enforcement staff currently engaged in those teams, which is probably another question for you, Nick. But
there's certainly staff involved in those as volunteers.
Right. Yeah.
So those rapid, but there are also professional staff in those teams.
Yes.
So our building inspectors are going there, because that's when we do that rapid for placarding. It's been damaged by a flood. It's a yellow placard. So
one thing that's really clear for elected members as soon as we take oath is please manage well your conflicts of interest.
Yes.
Please be really sure what hat you wear and what you know in certain circles, what you discuss in certain circles, and what you leave at the table and leave. And I guess for me, there's an ability to have a look internally and going, do that when we engage in our civil defence roles? I think.
I guess if I can answer through the chair. So when that rapid assessment team goes there, because for us, we're actually wanting to know where the people are. We have this essentially a live screen.
Yeah.
So we survey them there, and some people say, no, I don't want any help. So that's noted. Resident at 51, whatever, noted, no help required. we'll still capture that information because we don't want another team going back to the same person. So now that's in our system live. We've also got a building inspector team, so if they haven't been there, we will be sending them back to look at a building. So as far as us knowing, it's really hard to unknow because we need our building inspectors particularly to know where those people are. So if we already know, because the reality is we know that if you were to look at, I don't know how many there were, say there were 10 red sticker dwellings, there will be more
Yellows.
places being occupied that are not dwellings being placarded because they don't have a building consent, so we don't placard them. So but we still need to know there's people there, and then that becomes a separate issue for building to manage because there's people, there's habitation occurring in potentially a dwelling that's not safe. Remember, the reason we check is to keep people safe. The reason you're in a building consented dwelling is because it is safe to live there. It won't collapse on you. You won't get an electric shock from it. You won't get injured by
Unless it was built prior to 19.
Yeah.
Unless no,
So it's that grey area, but I just guess the absolute commitment to the work that civil defence do in the help part to then have that information used in a enforcement part. In my mind, there's still I get there's still safety, I get there's still bits, but I just like to think if I needed help, it'd be there, and then you're not necessarily judged on the worst day of your life.
Yeah.
I would be surprised if there was enforcement actually coming out of those site visits because it's purely about making sure people are safe.
Great, thank you.
The reality is if we want to know where people are, we'll just look on Google Earth. If you go to Rocky River or you go to one of those other places, if you want to see where people are occupying, go to Google Earth. You don't need a council person to be going around knocking on a door.
Yeah.
We know where you are.
Exactly.
As is, you know where you are.
So unfortunately, things have changed now. I can say it because it was told to us at the workshop, but I unfortunately didn't attend the last regulatory meeting because it was best that I left. But the head of that department has basically said that they can go beyond the Resource Management Act and actually take action against people over their attitude.
Hmm?
A
for attitude.
Yeah, you've heard the attitude part. We can
No.
put it up. It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube, and it was told to us at the workshop here. So my concern is if you're starting to take action against people, right, because of their attitude, if you're going to lose where you're living, if you're going to be forced out of your home, I'm quite sure your attitude is probably going to be less than perfect. Okay. So if I came round to Councillor Dowler, banged on his door and said, I want you out of here. Okay. I'm quite sure Barry's going to, oh, all right then. I'm off. I'll just grab my hand. Questioning, and you might be a little bit pissed off. And regardless of the circumstances, your home is your palace, right? Whether or not it's a 9-metre bus or a tent, it's where you've looking after your own needs. And at the moment, the lady sitting in there, thanks to the council, she has now been sleeping on couches and trying to find a place. MSD are being wonderful, but that is a direct result of Tasman District Council, which you are a part of. And I know there's all this wonderful stuff here. She has not, she spoke in, and Brent acknowledged her, but she's hoping to hear back from the mayor because she's a victim. She's the victim of all this. Whilst there was this big argument over here, in the end, she can't live in that. And she knows she can't take it anywhere else because they know they'll follow it. And I've had this. So you can see people's attitudes, if they're going to lose their home, it's not going to be perfect. And if Tasman District Council are now, and at the last regulatory meeting, more powers were given to the regulatory division, and that's what Christine was talking about, more powers were given. I am really concerned for the ongoing safety of our, how can I put it, most vulnerable, okay? And your argument, which is perfectly, I completely accept it. You have to know that they're safe and this sort of thing. But the Shakener case clearly showed that that was nothing to do with it. There was no problem. It's lovely. They weren't even interested in it.
I couldn't. So that's a matter of court record over there.
Yeah, it is.
Remember, we have to be really careful about, there's laws that we follow, and by attitude, I'm assuming you're meaning obstruction, because that is a problem. That's a legal issue. You cannot obstruct an officer. So if you had a constable there. So we have to be really careful when we're part of a community, there's obligations as a community member to play your part as part of a community. You use the roads, you use the museum, the library, you drink the water, you flush the toilet. There's a cost to that. So part of us regulating a community, remember, most of these are national rules. They're not local rules that are made up arbitrarily. So like the Building Act or the Local Government Act or the Resource Management Act, they're for a reason, and they're a very clear basis to those reasons. If you choose to act outside the act, then there's a consequence, because you're no longer playing your part as a community. There might be reasons for that, but it doesn't stop the fact you're no longer playing your part as a community. The obligation of being part of our community is complying with the rules and accepted norms of our community, which means if you want to live in a dwelling, that it's consented. Or if you want to subdivide, you pay your development contributions, because extra traffic, extra use of resources. Otherwise, the people who are ratepayers pay more for other people's benefit, and they do not pay. Remember, anybody who's outside of our system are not contributing anything in a financial sense to our community. If we want a community, we're a community of around 25, 27,000 ratepayers at most. We have 9,700 square kilometres to manage. The reason why the annual plan and the reason why the councillors went grey, Trinity's not grey, really fast.
My hairdresser is very wealthy, however.
Costs of running that. The only way we can work is fees, rates, or grants, or debt. And so the issue is, if we want people to have long-term habitation, all they need to do is just follow the rules. And the rules are not hard. The rules are incredibly easy, because following the rules means you contribute to the community you live within. And if you're not prepared to contribute to the community you live within, how are we going to operate as a community? Because we have no access to support the people who are playing their part in the community, the people who like the footpath, the people who turn the tap on, flush the toilet, go to the library. So we've got to be really careful that you separate out issues very clearly. So when you're coming to an issue around a motorhome camp that has a consent for motorhomes, it is completely different to someone who has a consent. And you can get a consent for a tiny home. It's not that hard. You can get consents to subdivide if appropriate. You can do all of that stuff, but you have to actually engage in the system. And normally when it comes to a consequence of any process, your willingness to engage makes that process easier. So if you obstruct, you are going to find it incredibly hard. Because remember, of the 50,000 jobs that are occurring, we haven't got time to manage everybody through the system if they're not prepared to meet us halfway. So we've got to be really careful when we're talking about rights and privileges, and that these people are not hurting society, that if they're not playing part of society, how are we meant to look after them?
Yeah, no, that's a fabulous answer, and thank you for that. And I've heard the same thing before, and you've done it very eloquently. The land they're on, they pay rates on, okay? The square they're on is maybe 10 metres by 3 metres. All I'm saying is here, let's just not even get into the argument. Let's accept what you're saying. These people haven't got the money. They haven't got the money, so they leave the district. That basically what you're saying is leave the district. Well, at least have the honesty and the integrity to go, you are not welcome in the Tasman District Council unless you come up with your 30 to 70 to 80,000 case. Well, no, I'll go public and I'll tell them, sorry, you're not welcome here. You need to leave the Tasman District because unless you have the money.
But nobody's saying that, are they?
Yes, they are.
We say wherever you go, if you want to be in a community, you should play your part with being in the community. I'm sure those people with those homes have a car which drives on a road which is funded by ratepayers. I'm sure those people in that dwelling go to town and buy food, walk on the footpath, park in the car park, go to the library. I hope they go to the library and get books because it's such an awesome service. We pay for that. The community pays for that. You have to play your part in community. You can't isolate from community and expect community to look after you. So Tasman is absolutely open for business. Tasman absolutely needs people to be here. A whole proportion of our population are the productive base of our community, whether they're in workers' accommodation or in their own house. But they've all done that, or the people that own that accommodation have done their job properly. So if you want to park a house on my property, I will get the consents for it. I will do the subdivision or whatever on it. That's part of being in a community. We can't have it all. We can't just park up and say someone else is paying because we lost.
Hold it.
Sorry.
Councillor Walker's going to speak. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Thank you, Rob, because you spelt that out in language that I could at least understand. So I appreciate that journey you've taken me on. I guess my only feedback before I want to move on to a different topic would be that sometimes the cost can be prohibiting for some of our families, some of our less abled people in our community, which is probably some of the barriers as to why that's not being uplifted. But on a different note, when you go out in a state of emergency and you do an assessment on a house and you're placarding it, the person that's out there on that site, do they know that that house is consented right there and then in the middle of the emergency? And if it is, does that change whether it gets placarded or not?
So normally we use a tool, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
So it knows where they are and they can access the system. Sometimes they won't know. So then when they enter back into the system, it will be uploaded and then you'll be able to go.
So an unconsented house gets placarded differently from a consented or not?
That's, well, under the rules for that, they're not placarded because they didn't get a building consent. So they're essentially just a shed or something. But that process is something that we looked into for the second event, because when we were looking at the numbers, we know there's a lot of people in the Motueka Valley who are not in a consented dwelling. The numbers we were seeing relative to the damage we were seeing didn't match up. So when they went back out again, they were looking at other structures and noting were they habitable or not as an extra. So rather than just going to the only house on the thing, they were looking to see actually there's people down there. And quite often that was done at the house. Oh, I've got 3 people down there. They're fine.
So I guess I want to clarify. So just randomly, because I can't
That's not
remember.
That's just for us looking.
Yeah. So just for my headspace, because it's not a good place at the minute. If you say, and I can't remember the last report, but say we have 10 red placarded and 40 something yellow, potentially we have more houses out there who, for whatever reason, don't have resource consent. So there's no placards, which actually shouldn't be used as dwellings because they're not safe. Is that,
I would
have got that right?
find up on that. So typically under the building, so you only placard a building that's been through the process.
Yeah.
But what we found through the process is we were not identifying those, we weren't recording those other buildings. So we actually wanted the buildings.
So potentially the damage in our community is much bigger than what my report says because.
Find that out. So I can find out and just feed it back to the board, whether that 40 or whatever it is just consented buildings or not. I suspect it's not just consented buildings now because
because the second event made it.
Yeah, because most of the buildings were around pre-83 or whatever, so they were mostly in a good area because we had good records for them. Most of the damage is probably in ones that were not done.
I guess for me, it's just about how much destruction and damage is out there, because when we look at a report, if those houses weren't part of the system because for whatever reason they're not consented, then it's not giving me a true picture of just how much my community is suffering and the volume of what that looks like, because I'm mindful that, you know, physical damage to a house becomes post-traumatic stress for many people, and that's what is going to birth out of, if it hasn't already, moving forward, which is a bigger problem than what Tasman District Council can address, even with our navigators, bless their cotton socks. Because that's a massive mental health challenge, and we already have a deficit in how our mental health team can work within community prior to these events.
So Rob, you may not be aware of the board's last 2 years. We've been doing a community wellness, wellbeing solutions initiative and addressing homelessness and the housing crisis locally. So hence why there's a lot of passion around the board about not making people homeless, because we've had quite a few come through that have horrible stories. So yeah, that's why we're really mindful of where things go from here, because yes, they might be living in something that's not, doesn't have a building consent, but then where do they go if they get moved on from there? And we're already dealing with it, you know, enough people that I have nowhere to live. Yeah. So that'll be, I think, I really appreciate how you, I'll say what Councillor Walker said, you eloquently articulated that, which would have been lovely to have like 2 years ago.
Said before, but
This is a
I
much.
want to live somewhere for 2 years or 3 years, because that's why you live in something with
Yeah.
walls. Because
So, but what I was gonna say,
box is hard. To subdivide to live for 2 years, not worth it.
we will take that offline so that the depth of the conversation, the stories can be had, so there's better understanding back, because we have tried this through other avenues and it's not working. So I really do appreciate that.
It's good that your council are here, because.
Oh, they hear it all.
Part of, but also that influencing plan rules and things like that.
Well, we through the chair, we have actually asked for a sticking plaster on this, and it's been ignored.
Well, no, it hasn't been ignored, it just has taken what he knew would happen in the system.
Sorry.
About delegations, why there's so many.
That would be great. So delegations.
Okay, so
Yep.
Essentially what happens so Robin's brand new, but essentially when delegations go to, so if you're in a particular role, you may get delegations. So every time we change a role, or every time a process changes, there will be delegations changes to make sure they're legal. Because if you don't have the right delegations and you're discharging your service, it can cause problems. So you should expect to see a lot of delegations changes through time. That's just a machinery of council. So I wouldn't put any store in that there's been 29 delegation changes or whatever, because there's been in the last couple of years, we've had a couple of restructures. We've had staff coming and going. So some roles are delegated can be done simply by the CEO, other ones that have to be recorded. So I can't do things that are outside my delegation. So you should expect to see those. There's nothing nefarious about.
Councillor Murray.
So just checking, either you, Rob, or the governance person, might be the governance person.
I'm on shaky ground.
So my understanding is, as soon as there's a new council elected, all the delegations are null and void, and then they're
So that training,
Yes.
all of the committees and anything that's been delegated by council is involved, except for a couple of things like the Civil Defence and Emergency Committee. That's a group. And yeah, when the new mayor creates his or her new committees, then we write a new delegations register. Yeah. And that will change quite quickly, probably in the first 6 months, you know, as things are refined. And often a year and a half into the term, you'll have another change around for the committees. And then there's included in Tasman's delegations register are the officer delegations, which is what Ron's been talking about, that changed quite a lot.
And there's this fluid change to the law nationally at the moment.
Yes.
That's
So
right.
the RMA
Yeah.
is changing to,
Everything changes.
Is that called fluid? I thought that was more like a hailstorm.
It's not static.
it's been polite.
Interesting to note the delegations, after we made our recommendation of 4 workshops a year later, the community board were told we don't have the delegation to make such recommendations. When I know there's a bit of a sticking point there, Kelsey, but I feel I've provided enough that we do. And we did have the power to recommend that, and it wasn't decided at the time. So perhaps one of those 29, perhaps we can make it 30 delegations and give us a little bit of power back to actually make a recommendation that could help our community. Thank you. Oh, sorry, Rob, for you probably weren't aware of that.
I know that delegations through the chair, delegations to community boards has been a long-term ongoing discussion, both in Mahua and Motueka.
Where?
Over the hill.
It's through the chair.
Through the chair, we had a lot of new delegations given to us when we went through the local board
Oh, that's right.
stuff, and it changed, and also changed for you guys over here because what we asked for, the local government commissioners said, hey, look, you guys can ask for this and this and this, you're entitled to this, and really? So it has changed a lot over the time that I've been around, that's for sure, and for the better.
Yeah. Somebody was.
Maybe.
Your.
So CBEC have just released a new guide for delegations and how community boards are operated. That was just released at LGNZ conference this year. So it'd be interesting in terms of, I know I've told Rob, I've got a hard copy, but I think they were coming out anyway.
Yeah.
But I can drop that off. So just, because I think that's the key bit, isn't it? Clarity of role.
Yeah.
And clarity of responsibilities and restrictions to a centre.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And making it worth the while of having a community board.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on to the action list so we can wrap up. Do you want to go through that? Do you want me to whiz through it?
Yeah.
Whiz through it? Okay. There is, the Motueka Master Plan. Ongoing.
Going.
This is from
September, I think.
Oh,
Back
right,
to-
in Amadios. Okay.
We're close. We're close.
Councillor Walker proposal board approved. Oh, so the youth council fund, maybe that's all right, ongoing. The what's this one? Yeah.
We've got to put a business case.
Oh,
in,
right.
that's ongoing.
Okay, that's ongoing. We should report back to the board regarding the item next to light. I cannot read that. Being adopted by council, this will lapse in the new training and be removed of future acting reports. Annual, what is this? Closed as the annual plan has been adopted.
I suspect Matthew is,
Mhm,
the chair
yeah.
will be Matthew,
On the finance.
from finance.
Yeah.
Big
What
look sheet.
about him?
Because the title was annual plan proposal, so if because we remember earlier this year, we did the whole refresh of the annual plan, so if it came and passed then it had already closed, so I guess what he's saying is it's actually missed the cut.
So we never. So he never came back? Report back to the board regarding the item left to lie on the table?
It got left to lie. It was about,
Anything like the end of the term.
yeah,
Actually doesn't progress until the next year.
Oh, yeah, I think my question's around what's gonna come back.
there was two, remember, there was the additional special projects fund amount of 40,000, but then there was the remuneration amount that he wanted to add into the annual plan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, right. But
But
we had
it's-
that meeting with Paul
It's all gone, yeah.
post.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we just removed that. Okay, thanks. Contractor discretionary fund, is that what's going on there? Kelsey discretionary fund contacted and yet to be updated the application
So it's still waiting.
for, who was it? Oh, everyone? Everyone and anyone? Okay, can't see. Deputy Chair, confirm with members how many members of the community voted. Oh, you already did that, didn't you? It's there. Okay, that one's answered. We can close that one.
Sorry, that discretionary funds one, it was from an application that got submitted. We didn't approve it because it was out of scope.
Was this
It
the
was for-
tone and?
It was for,
Precedent.
yeah,
No, it was the one over
Some-
Tucker had,
operation.
family starts or,
Oh, the
Specific one.
office furniture. Was it that one?
that wasn't the one that Golden Bay approved?
It was Family Start,
Start.
yeah, and it was for operational
Yeah,
expenditure, yeah.
Okay,
so that was
it's
for a specific one.
That's okay. Okay, cool. All right, are we gonna confirm the amount available to, yep, done that. Close that one from Paul. Board approved AP submission, yep. Close that one about the AP submission. Steve Ellington, comments, circulation, maintenance budget and planning. Oh, so this is where you were saying this relates back to a special project one, yeah? No, this is a different one. This is permanent. So this one should be closed, isn't it? I thought we did that last meeting. He wanted, I just don't want to read all of that blurb again.
That's,
Yeah,
no, that's been closed.
Lots.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
From a lane, yeah.
we have
he's done that.
already done that. Yep. So we just contributed a small amount to help finish off.
That's right, 3,000, I think.
Right, this one, John Rudd to investigate heavy vehicle, so this relates also back to thing.
Oh, sorry, through the chair, the Primer Lane one, it was asked at that meeting that he circulate the budget balance back of that.
Okay,
Yep, so that's still gotta come back.
We asked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh, the ongoing,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's one thing to put it in. It's
yeah.
He missed the
maintain it.
memo about that there was no money left in any of the budgets, right?
Yeah, wasn't he gonna like do non-maintenance
I
shrubs?
think that's what he said.
There was
Yeah.
like, we'll put some rocks there. Okay, sorry, so maintenance budget to come back. And then that last one, what do we need from that? That's the update, is there anything? Pros, cons, danger going down.
So that's sort of ongoing really with the waiting for a formal response.
So
Okay.
those last ones from John.
Yeah.
Still waiting for him to come back to you.
Okay, waiting for response is the update.
Apart from the enforcement workshop, which that was provided to Matthias.
What one's that,
Oh,
sorry?
sorry, that's the last one.
PowerPoint presentation, yep, okay. John to provide an update.
Still waiting for John.
Still
He
outstanding.
didn't give me notes.
Okay. Cool. Okay. Councillor Walker.
Through you, Madam Chair, correspondence. Just wondering,
Where is it?
well, there's only one piece of correspondence in there, which was from Linley from the managed out road trip. But I'm mindful that Nikki Shepherd sent us an email advising residents about bus stop changes in Atkins Street, and I asked her to forward that on to the board. Did you receive that correspondence?
Has it come around the board?
We did.
No, but I asked her specifically to include the board in that, and she said that was a good idea.
Yeah.
Because it's not written as being received in your correspondence, and then,
I don't do any correspondence.
It was definitely received because that's what prompted me to talk to
Yes.
Steve Alkington.
yes,
It's definitely
so
received.
how do we capture that? Because there's another one, which is a guy, Tom, and I'll spell his surname because I can pronounce it, Beitch. And he sent us some correspondence with regards to that 10K at the wharf restoration. I'm kind of surprised he didn't get a response from the community board. But maybe you guys aren't getting the emails, which herein lies, where do those emails go?
So
It'd
I,
be quite nice to share the weight off my shoulders.
yeah, 100%. I don't know why we don't have correspondence captured. I remember we had it at the very start of the term, and then when things switched out of admin to governance, it just hasn't been.
So when emails come into the Motueka Community Board email address, who receives those emails and
We all do.
who's responding on behalf of the board as opposed to a councillor or two?
Yeah, so there should be all of us in that Motueka Community Board email, plus the executive officer, plus our secretary and governance.
So then they should show on this agenda as correspondence that's been received, because it potentially could be stuff that the board may have wanted to talk about.
Yeah. Oh, so our secretary so you just wrapped up in governance with everybody then, Kelsey. You don't get a separate one.
We should, we used.
Yeah, I totally agree. I know that it shifted once the role shifted, and those things haven't been captured.
Yeah.
Like Emma used to list every single in and out.
I just wonder moving forward whether that's not something that could be fine tuned. Because I take my hat off to people in the community who make an effort to actually email in something about what their concerns are or how they, as opposed to them rocking in through public forum.
Yeah.
But if it's not captured somewhere other than.
Then they won't feel heard.
Yeah.
They're not showing it on them. Yeah, totally agree.
And our role is to advocate for
So
them.
I think maybe that will come, like we can.
Have a look and see what's
Yeah.
happened and what we
Thank
can
you.
actually
Do moving forward.
do.
Yeah.
moving forward.
Yeah.
Because I'm
that'd
sure
be
Paul
great.
would have expected something to have been spoken about. So maybe I'll go back to him and say, we'll try and get it on the next agenda.
Yeah, because the thing is, there's so much, it gets lost. And if we're not addressing.
But it shouldn't get it should be captured somewhere as a record of correspondence into the board for the board to respond.
Yeah, that's what I mean, because we
Yeah.
don't have one, it'll get lost. Like, even if I replied to something and it's not captured. That's why I've brought in capturing the responses to our public forum speakers,
Yeah.
so that we know.
Because 7.1 is the correspondence list on the report, page 44, which has one item. So somehow that made it in the system. So I'm just wondering where the gap is for other stuff.
I don't have. But I know I don't have but I know that we did used to have correspondence. We did, yeah. So anyway, that's can be looked.
Councillor Mo.
Yeah.
I've only got one other
I
thing.
got nervous.
It's totally different when you finish.
Let's go.
So Councillor Walker and I were at the Food Collective meeting on Monday. So there's a group of all the food providers that meet about 3 times a year, and they've certainly been really busy, working hard.
Yeah.
But one of the discussion points that came up is they were disappointed to hear that the Breeze were in town on Thursday.
Who?
The Breeze,
Radio.
collecting food for the Nelson Food Bank.
Oh.
So
Thursday.
yes, so just through your networks, the Breeze has apologised in terms of actually it was a promotion and they got busy. The collection of food for food banks is just a really good cause, which I don't disagree with. But they've made the call that anything collected here on Thursday will go to Motueka, so it'll go to Community House. And then and just saying an extra thank you, we're feeling for you, Motueka. They're coming back, not the Tuesday coming, the following Tuesday, for another go at another All About Motueka. So they're keen to talk to people, so Blair's keen to interview people with some insights, to visit houses, bits and pieces. I'm just looking across the table to see nuclear. But for them, it was really awesome. Just a quick call, and they've gone, shit, we didn't realise, actually, we saw that. So the food being collected in Motueka isn't going out of town, it's staying here.
Yes.
So even though it says collection for the Nelson Food Bank, because that's the promo, it's all staying here.
So interesting, while we were at the meeting, you might have seen me on the phone, it was Nicola from New World.
She sent me a text too. Which
Asking
reminded me.
about it, so I gave her Blair's number.
So it's all been sorted.
Where's the promos in that around this?
Oh, you listen to the breeze. Did you listen to the breeze? I see, I'm a breeze fan. I listen to the breeze.
I don't listen
Yeah, I
to
do,
the
I listen to
radio.
And it's on Love Motueka as well, we
Between
showed it.
Yeah.
So it's
So-
at 6 till 10 on Thursday at New World Car Park.
And then you'll be back again in 2 Tuesdays.
So maybe you could refresh that with it, maybe a Nelson driven, but actually the kite stays in Motueka.
Yep, I will.
Yeah.
It's a really good, yeah.
Awesome, thanks for that.
So I've responded to the same person you've responded to as well, Claire.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else before I start to leave the other account? Correct, 7. Well done, team. Lots of discussion. Not as bad. Like this is sort of normal time for us, given this 2 months.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Is that, oh no,
I'm going to wrap up.
yep, this is something for after the meeting.
Okay. Ko motu a mātou mahi. Mō tēnei wā mana tia mai mātou katoa o mātou hoa o mātou whānau ai o ki te aorangi. Have a blessed evening, everybody. Be safe. Look forward to seeing you next month.
Wait up, we've got something we haven't finished.
Oh. What?
Governance chair, I'm poking you towards it.
Did we not move it? We have been in that for so long. Okay. Moved by deputy, seconded by chair. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Those against?